Never heard of him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is a real trouble.
Yes.
This was the flower pot days.
This is also Taiwichi. Heaven's got
Got your back. That's your back. Yeah.
The microphone.
The microphone's got your back, and heaven's got your back too. Good morning, welcome to the show. Hey, GTV Breakfast. This is how we do it. Show 79. What does the number 79 mean to you? Yeah. Let us know. We're just curious. We just ask random questions just like that.
You ask random.
Good to have you here.
Good morning and welcome to GTV Breakfast. The show is possible by Awake Purified Mineral Water, Show that acrylic paint, Adonko Next Level Energy Drink, Lufa for our health segment, Cheesy Pizza. You remember those crazes that win you some vouchers? Yes, that's kindness of Cheesy Pizza. And Etel Tigo will be responsible for the lifestyle segment, Befitting by BGS. Responsible for my lovely outfits this morning. Follow them on Instagram.
You look great.
Follow us on our social media handles. We are streaming live on Facebook. We are also on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram as well. Our website www.gbcghanaonline.com. Follow us for all news and information from news circles. Okay?
Yes, and talking of news and information, yesterday was budget day. What surprised you about yesterday's budget day pronouncements by the finance minister? Are you still thinking no more tax? Are you thinking no more little white papers that some people coming from Tema and going from Accra throw away? I'm not mentioning any names. But I used to live in Tema too, and we used to pick those little pieces of paper all the time from the people. They say no more tolls. I have a friend who lives in Yours, and he says, Charlie, they pay 16 cedis every 2 weeks to go to his village. So far as he's concerned, he's happy that there are no more tolls. But what does that mean? No more tolls. What happens to the people who work the toll booths? What happens to the hawkers, which was not sanctioned anyway, but those are livelihoods that are going to have to disappear and go and find a living elsewhere. What are your surprises in yesterday's budget?
Well, you're losing the toll, but you're gaining an e-levy. So it's off one and on one. So what are your thoughts? Share them with us on our WhatsApp number 055-5561-034. There is someone of the group who can tell us exactly what it feels like not to pay tolls this morning. And we are going over to her now.
Yes.
Val? The missing Val, yesterday you were lost in transit.
We're talking now.
You are here now. Okay, tell us what that's like.
Okay, so I got to the couple today, and then like a couple of cars had parked, and so I just took out my 50 plus one, and I realized there was a cross. Yes, the red cross was there, and then I realized the whole place was shut down. And then there was a police officer who was like, go on. And I'm like, yesterday. And so, yes, it's in full effect. Today I experienced this on the Accra Tamamoto.
They issued a press statement yesterday, and it said it was taking effect from 12 a.m. on Thursday, which was about 6 hours and 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So those structures will come down?
It remains to be seen. I'm guessing
there's no toll to bring it down.
Well, the ones that were scrapped when you're going to Cape Coast, they flattened
just level them.
Yes. So let's see if that's what happens.
Wow.
Interesting times ahead.
Shall the government power day there? One talk no more tools.
Finish.
Yeah, that's why everybody wants to be a politician.
Not everybody. Mama, what do we expect from your side today?
So in the trends, I have Davido. We'll talk about why Davido is trending.
Okay.
It's amazing for love. And then mobile money is trending. The toll booth is trending. Shatta Wale is trending. Rolls Royce is trending. You know why Rolls Royce is trending?
The car?
Yes.
No idea.
Okay, so we'll find out why these are trending. If you know why these are trending, you can join our conversation. Our show is interactive, and so you can join it. And then we'll be keeping an eye from an area. Well, we'll go to Kaswa and look at the toll booth. So we'll have either Alan or Jay on the ground actually giving us visuals of cars that are passing, and then later on the segments that warms everybody up, the lifestyle segments, and so we'll be having a conversation with a dancer and a musician, but I think he likes dancing more than music. We'll find out. We'll get to speak to Mr. View later on the lifestyle segment, and that's what to expect from my corner.
Okay.
Back to you
Go
guys.
That's still a huge trend, by the way. Yeah. Yesterday, a friend of mine sent me a video, I put on my WhatsApp status, and everybody was just having a good laugh because it's broken barriers, right? It's international. Even our friends and family in the West are doing it. Yeah. But you see, when we talk about the divide, the developmental divide between the North and the South, do we actually know what that means? Do we know how great that gap is? Today we'll be having a sit down with some officials from the Northern Development Authority, and I will seek to ask them what exactly it means. I've never been up north, unfortunately.
Could you ask them when you speak to them?
I've never been up north.
What? No.
And that's a huge problem. I want to go. I've never been, so I put myself out there.
Where's the furthest you've been, Tema?
No. I've been to Kumasi.
Kumasi is your limit.
Yep.
Wow. You haven't been to Bronx?
No.
Wow. Volta?
Yes, Volta.
Eastern?
Yes.
Western?
Yes.
Central? But no north?
No. None of the 5 northern regions have been in my travels. So that's why I'm going to come at this conversation from a completely, I'm very, very interested because now, by the end, look, next year I'm touring the North and I'm going.
Can you chip in something for the creative arts industry when you get to speak to them? We have artists who come from the North. They keep saying that they need the events to be moved, most of our events to be moved up there so that we can discover talent. So maybe you can ask that for
So the divide, it's in more than just government. It's more than just governance. It's more than just businesses and manufacturing and industry and whatnot. So more of the focus in the South as against focus in the North. We'll be interrogating those issues and what they mean for persons located in the topmost part of the country. So the Northern Development Authority will be in the house, and we are hearing that the Presbyterian Church of the Osu Presby, so the Children's Service, is 100 years old. 100 years of raising children, developing children, and teaching them to walk in the path of God. I'm interested to find out what they have achieved. So all that will be on my side, and I'm sure the budget will be your focus on the headlines.
Walking, I remember the song from primary school. Oh, walk, walking in the light.
It's not the light, it's the budget.
Walking in the light of God.
Walking in the budget of Honorable Ken Ofori. So we'll interrogate the issues raised by the finance minister in the budget on the headlines. And if you have any questions, we've told you where to go. Our social media handles are live, and our WhatsApp number is live as well.
Okay, sure. So, are you worried about going for an operation and they'll put you to sleep and then they will raise you like it's a resurrection? Are you afraid of that? Are you concerned? Anesthesia is our conversation on the health segment, brought to you by Lufat. What are the benefits of being put to sleep before a surgical procedure, and what are the risk factors? Have you had that experience before, or you've cared for somebody who went under? You want to know what it's all like? 055-556-1034. Show brought to you by all these sponsors, including Harry Stitch GH, who made me look this fly, according to Valerie. And I agree with her as well. And Thelma too is not saying it, but I know I look fly. It's now time for the wisdom nugget from Dr. Kofi Osei. And he says, Dr. Kofi Osei, write a book. Morning.
It's a good morning to you. Very exciting, very humbling for me to come here again with the wisdom nugget for your day. Because a nugget a day keeps the problems away. And today we're talking about write a book. Write a book. You know, many people think writing a book is for a very special group of people. The other day I had a 12-year-old girl come to me and say, "Hey, Doc, I'm writing a book and I would love for you to have a look at it for me." I'm like, wow, I'm so impressed. At the age of 12, you've already written, the first 3 chapters of your book. It's a good thing to write a book. Writing a book is not for people who have been to the university or have several degrees. Writing a book is not just for people who have achieved so much in life already. Whoever you are, I urge you, write a book. Start writing a book. It may take you years to finish, but it's a good project to put your life to. It may turn out to be one of your greatest legacies. Have you started writing your book? A book is a collection of your experiences in life, or a book may even be, a product of your creativity. That is ideas that you have. It may be a fictional book. It may be just a storybook. It may be a motivational book. But by all means, try and write a book. Unfortunately, here within our African history, unfortunately, we haven't put together a lot of books. And so sometimes people think we don't have a history and people think we don't have a lot of knowledge. But there is so much knowledge. There is so much wisdom on this continent of Africa. It's just that a lot of our history used to be orally transferred from one group of people to the other. But we are in a day and a time where it's very important for us to write a book. There are many elderly people who are maybe on retirement. You've had so much experience in life. And what we're waiting for, what the world is waiting for, is a book from you. You can never tell how far your books may go. The other day, I just got an email from a young person who had read a book of mine far away. And I couldn't believe that that book of mine could go so far. I'm saying today that you don't need to be an extraordinary person to write a book. Whoever you are, commit to writing the book. Put your ideas together. Put your dreams together. Put your experiences together. Create something and leave a legacy for the world. And before you realize, that could possibly be one of the greatest legacies that you could ever leave. Make it a decision today that you're going to write a book and leave a story behind that will live long after you have left this world. Have a fabulous day, and I look forward to see you again on the Wisdom Nugget for the day.
Thanks for staying on, and we are grateful to our partners at Donko Next Level Energy Drink, Shield Aquatic Paint, and Awake Purified Mineral Water for partnering us to bring you the breakfast show. I'm grateful to be fitting by SFBG for my lovely outfits. Follow them on Instagram. Everyday clothing from Ghana to the world, so you get ladies, gents, and kids wear all in one place, and it can get customized for you, like this one I'm wearing. Thank you, Linda and the team at Befitting. Follow them on Instagram. And we'll get into our social media trends. Valerie was telling us that Davido is trending because he's managed to raise a huge amount of money from his fans. Incredible stuff.
So on Twitter, yes, he's like, oh, he knows he's giving us songs, back-to-back hits to his fans. And so if you appreciate him and he's giving you a good time, send money to him, his account, to help him celebrate his birthday. And then, yep.
Why?
He just said that, I mean, if he's giving you a hit song, he's made you jam before, give him.
You should give him money.
Yeah. And so he did it, and I mean, it's amazing. And so he started calling out some of the musicians in Nigeria, in Ghana, his friends, and everybody was. And so, first person to respond to the the fundraiser was Medical, Ghanaian Medical, and then he sent him $1,000.
$7 million in 10 minutes. Keep going.
No, I don't get it. Why is he doing this?
He just said that it's his birthday, and so he's giving a lot of people good jams, back-to-back hits. So if he's ever made you feel good before, send him Momo.
30 billion for the
account. And then...
So what's happening now?
Right now he's gone. I mean, it's a...
So what does he do with the money?
Nobody knows.
That's what we are...
So it's the second leg of the story everyone is waiting for. What is he going to do with the money? But right now we know he's raised 300K.
Is that dollars and naira?
Dollars, Annie.
Dollars.
Okay.
Dollars, Annie. So
I'm just trying to understand
like
why.
All the reactions we are getting. Twilight. I dropped my number for someone to send me Momo because Davido inspired me. But some TL,
That's
timeline girls have saved it and are proposing to me on WhatsApp.
My brother,
You have to shoot yourself. That is it. That is it. You have some people who are, expressing interest, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So,
when did they do this fundraiser?
Yesterday. And within minutes, it was in millions already.
Is the 1.75% from the Ghana people effective now?
No, this is in Nigeria.
No, this is Nigeria.
And the 1.7 is from February. CAF. The 1.7 is from February of 2022.
Okay.
So any monies that you send to someone on Momo now, so we've just glided smoothly into our next trend, which is the Momo trend. If you are thinking of sending Davido Momo, now is the time because from February you have to pay as the sender 1.7. So all the networks will be affected. Momo is trending but you see, they are telling us that if you send any amount up to 100 Ghana cedis, it's free per day. That means that if you send 100 cedis to one person, the next 100 cedis you send to someone else will attract a charge. So all those who are tweeting and said, "Oh, you owe me 1,000, just send 99.99," it's not going to work. Okay. Once the 100 cedis has gone out of your Momo, every other amount that goes out will receive the tax. Kex is saying the Momo tax is insane. It's really going to affect businesses and ordinary Ghanaians. Imagine a trader in Kumasi paying 1,750 on 100,000 to a supplier in Accra. This means that it's even cheaper to travel from Kumasi to Accra and back by flight to pay your supplier. But
hold on, can you even send 100,000 via Momo?
If I don't know what the limit for even a merchant vendor is.
Businesses. So
but for business accounts, I am not privy. I only know of the personal accounts. Maybe between, I don't know, what's the maximum amount of money you can send via Momo? If you know the answer, send it to us on our WhatsApp number 05555 61034. So many thoughts being shared on the Momo trend. The government before passed. The Ghana Revenue Authority changed their systems, and hence you have to pay your taxes electronically via Momo. Now the government has placed taxes on Momo transactions, meaning while paying your taxes, you will actually be paying taxes on your taxes. So is that the case? And we'll find some answers for all of us to be clear. Let's break down the digital tax. This is Sam George's verified page. So it's saying 1.75% Momo tax on transactions above 100 Ghana cedis, 1.75% bank tax on all bank transfers, 1.75% diaspora tax on all remittances. Surprisingly, it is to be used to buy buses and support road fund. How do you reverse 2 decades of digital progress? So those are thoughts by Ningo Pampram MP Sam George. More thoughts on the e-levy, which is what the Momo tax is called, because they took a look at the flow of money transactions and realized that the informal sector relies heavily on mobile money and has seen it grow heavily in the past few years. And rather than support its growth, they better take as much from it as possible.
Momo charges are bad enough for people, not to talk of taxes. This would just set the whole fintech space in Ghana back like 10 years. No one is accepting Momo as payment anymore. People will revert to cash.
Is that going to be the case? Well, we'll ask those questions. CEO of Vodafone Ghana, Engineer Patricia Obonai, has positioned Vodafone Cash to be the most used Momo platform with the introduction of the e-levy or e-tax. The Vodafone Cash is already zero rated. What will apply is the 1.75 for transactions above 100 cedis. So Vodafone Cash it's free to send monies across that platform. Other platforms charge for it. MTN and the rest all charge a certain amount for transactions that you make. Now that's going to be topped by the 1.75. It remains to be seen what the implications will be. People are already speculating, but is that what it is? And it's questions like this that we have to put to officials.
I'm just thinking also, so if I have 1,000 CDs, instead of sending that 1,000 to you, or you, how about if I take the raw cash and go and do cash deposit into the person's account, will I also be charged?
You'd still be charged a bank tax, because there's also a tax on transactions, and it's a question that
my 100 CDs into the Momo. Say I come and give you 1,000 CDs instead of sending phone to phone.
Through your bank.
Cash to, no, not through
You
your
go
bank.
to the
I go to
agent.
the agent and say, Charlie, G1,000. Give it to.
Yes, but the agent becomes the sender. So the agent has to pay. And if the agent is paying, you are paying. Because already, if you're sending 1,000 CDs to someone, you have to put the charge on it before you send. So, and they're telling us that they make upwards of 500 million in profits from Momo transactions alone for one telecom company. And I don't want to name names, but we've heard some figures now. So it's a lot of money. And if the toll,
GRA, they hide that money.
No, the analysis is if the tolls bring us about 7 million or 7 billion, we are likely to get even more from taxing Momo transactions, because a lot of the informal sector that is unbanked and untaxed use Momo. So it's a more direct way to get taxes. It's the explanation that I am getting.
It's all Momo transactions.
So we are going to have to interrogate all these issues into a bit more detail, especially when your panel sits down to look at the fine details contained in what the finance minister told us in Parliament yesterday. So there's a lot that will engage our viewers and our listeners across GBC's platforms, and we want to encourage you to get answers. And this is one of the platforms where you can. Remember that GBC provides you an opportunity to receive information in a language that you may be more familiar with. So we have programs, adult education, we have 18 regional FM stations, 7 TV channels, one dedicated to Ga and another Garden City based in Kumasi. So you are likely to get more information from our local media platforms, and you can also access our website and all our social media handles for information straight from the GBC, credible, authentic information, so you don't speculate. So are we done with the trends? Can I get into my cheesy quiz for yesterday? So yesterday we asked you how many students are participating in this year's BECE. Funny numbers some of you sent, but those who got it right, the number we're looking for is 571,894. 571,894. And we got some winners, and these people will be getting some pizza very, very soon. Justice Labi from Achimota, Ajay Lai from La, and Emmanuel Korte from Takrade. You were our winners for yesterday's cheesy quiz of the day. Justice Labi from Achimota, Ajay Lai from La, and Emmanuel Korte from Takoradi. Okay, we'll be getting into our health segment very shortly, and CAF will be having a conversation on what it means to be put to sleep before surgery, local anesthesia, general anesthesia differences. Let's get into all those details. Remember, we are interactive and we're streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram and also on Twitter. The hashtag is GTV Breakfast. We'll be back.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Don't you whistle that song? Confess. Good morning, welcome to the show. This is hashtag GTV Breakfast. Conversations on the budget. Momo is trending these days. When I say these days, just from yesterday. And there are conversations on the northern development issues, President Church, a musical dancer, or is it a dancing musician? All that will be answered on today's show. But we're going into health. We're looking at issues of anesthesia, and it's brought to you by Lufat tablet and suspension. So if you're battling malaria, you may want to be thinking about this solution. It's taken after a fatty meal for 3 days for effective results. Lufat comes in suspension for children and tablets for adults. It's the product of the year at the Ghana Farmer Awards 2021, and they're proud to be associated with our conversations all around health. Remember, our WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034, 055-556-1034, and we're streaming live on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Go look for Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Follow us, get the notifications, and then we are good to go. So I'll come back and we'll have a conversation with the anesthesiologist. You know how long I spent pronouncing that word, anesthesiologist, on issues of anesthesia, the benefits and the risk factors. Don't go anywhere.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Good to have you back. Let's jump straight into our conversation on anesthesia, the benefits and risk factors. My guest is an anesthesiologist at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Pokuya Sapong. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you here. So you are the doctors who help to put people to sleep before operations, is that correct?
That is right, among several other things.
Among several other things. Just give us a sense of what other things that you do, apart from putting us to sleep and waking us up.
Okay, so to begin with, who is an anesthesiologist or a physician anesthetist, doctor anesthetist? We are doctors, trained doctors who have gone into a specialization in anesthesia care. So our job begins when the surgeon decides that you need surgery. So then he will send you to us and we will see you at a clinic where I will assess you, we'll ask you questions on what illnesses you have, what allergies you have, what medications you're taking. You know, all of these have implications on the anesthesia that we're going to give. What your social habits are like, whether you smoke, what you smoke, whether you drink, what you drink. And this is not the time to be bashful, because our aim is not to judge, but our aim is to be able to gather information, to be able to plan the best and the safest anesthesia for you.
Just back it up a bit. So smoking, drinking, what effect would that have on you going to sleep?
Okay, so depending on how much you drink, it has an effect on the drugs that we give. So then knowing what your habits are in that area, then we can model our anesthesia to suit you as an individual. When you smoke, it affects your lungs, okay? And so with that in mind, even at the clinic, we'd advise you to try and stay away from smoking. Even 1 week of staying away from smoking can improve your anesthesia experience.
Oh, really?
Even just 1 week.
Okay.
So it is important to be straightforward, to be truthful, and give your anesthesia provider all the information he or she needs to give you a good experience. Okay?
So for someone who is built to go for a surgery and they've been told that you have to go take it to sleep, and how do you reassure people? Because that's one of the fears, that, hey, Charlie, this is almost like death, you know. Yeah. How safe is it?
So I think knowing what you're going to go through helps a lot. The unknown is always scary. So when you have a feel of what you're going to go through, it at least gives you a little reassurance. So we try to explain to the patients what they're going to go through, the various steps, if they are uncomfortable procedures that they will have to go through. We try and explain these things to them. And then also, before surgery, we give them some medication, what we call anxiolysis. So we try and give them some medication to make them calm, to make them sleep well the night before, so they will be comfortable for the day before. And actually, this medication gives a certain amount of loss of memory. So you find that you come through and you may not even remember the details of what you have gone through, depending on how well the drug was timed and there are any delays in the surgery. And that is helpful, especially for those who have to have repeated surgeries. Then the anxiety doesn't build up, you know. And then just to add, let me say, we also, talking about what we do, we also are in charge of ICU. As you know from intensive care, which COVID brought to light a whole lot. Yes, and then pain. Pain is also one of our fortes.
Awesome. So take us through the steps. You've kind of hinted at it. So maybe before the surgery, they give you administer certain drugs that will make them relax and make them sleep well, and then you get the operating theater or the room. What happens? What do you do?
Okay, can I take a step back here and say, for anesthesia, our role is threefold. We call it the triad of anesthesia. The first and most important is to prevent pain of any kind as much as possible. The second is to prevent the patient from moving around so that it facilitates the surgeon's ability to perform their surgery. Then the third is to render the patient unconscious. This may or may not be necessary. Okay. So before we go in there, as you come in, depending on what surgery you're going for, depending on the patients themselves, what problems they may or may not have, we will plan our anesthesia accordingly. So then we have three main types of anesthesia. The local anesthesia, which is just maybe, even that one, usually the surgeons would give it themselves. People who have lumps and bumps, as we call them, like ganglions, small cuts that need to be sutured. A local anesthetic is given around the area. That's a drug that will numb the area.
Okay. I think I observed one. My son had a cut around his eye, and then they administered something, and they were pushing this needle through.
And he was smiling at you, exactly. So it numbs the area, and then the procedure can go on. That's for short, small procedures. So that is local. Then we have regional anesthesia, where you block off a region of the body, say the hand, the arm, the leg. The very common one is where procedures below the umbilicus or the waist, given anesthesia, which is called a spinal anesthesia, very common in women who are going to deliver surgically.
Okay. Cesarean sections.
Cesarean sections.
Okay. So that will be awake, but you'll be doing your stuff.
You'll be awake because the anesthesia has numbed the region where the operation is going to take place. So that's a regional. Then the general anesthesia. That's where the patient is put to sleep completely, and we may put in a tube into the throat and paralyze the patient. That's make the patient unable to move. Put the patient on a machine and breathe for the patient.
You do this for what kind of surgery?
So this is usually for surgeries that may be long. Surgeries where the surgeon needs the patient to be very still. What we call intracavity surgery. Surgeries that are inside, like inside the abdomen, inside the chest,
separation
inside
of conjoined twins. Would you do something like that?
Certainly, most definitely, because that's a long procedure. So, procedures that are going to take a long time. Let's say spine surgeries.
Heart surgery.
Heart surgery, most definitely. That is inside the chest. Heart surgery, lung surgery, surgeries in the head, neurosurgery of all kinds. All of those, the patients will need to be put to sleep and put on a machine to breathe for them.
You hinted that if you smoke and you drink, it may not be too. You may have to volunteer this information. Are there certain people for whom anesthesia is not good, is not recommended?
Currently, anesthesia has reached a point where we can manipulate a lot of things. So surgery is being done for preterm babies 1 year, 1 day, hour-old babies, rise up to old people who are in their hundreds, you know. And depending on what your situation is, we look for ways and means to manipulate our anesthesia to be able to give you a safe and successful experience.
Okay. What would be the risk factors as far as anesthesia is concerned?
Yes. There are some risks, as with every procedure. Risks as in patients who have chronic illnesses already before coming, aside from what is bringing them for the surgery. Things like hypertension that is not well controlled, that has caused other complications, heart disease, lung disease, patients who have diabetes, especially those that are not well controlled, patients who have kidney illnesses, liver illnesses, patients who are obese, grossly obese. All of these things can increase the risk somewhat of anesthesia. And then, of course, the excessive smoking and drinking, as I mentioned before. So these are some of the things that can increase the risk. Some things may not be so clearly obvious, like allergies. Of course, you wouldn't know what you are allergic to till you are exposed to it. So sometimes there are some people who react adversely to some of the agents we use for anesthesia. So we're always on the lookout for those and ready to counter them when they do okay.
You've talked about the triad, managing pain, keeping people immobile, and then putting them to sleep.
That's right.
How do you wake the people up?
Okay, so when we put you to sleep, we administer drugs to keep you asleep. So that's basically what we're doing. So at the end of the procedure, then we slowly withdraw what we are giving you to keep you asleep. So then your body deals with whatever is in, gets rid of it, and gradually you wake up.
Does anybody try to wake up earlier than you planned?
Sometimes it does happen, and we have to quickly put them back to sleep.
By injection or something?
Yes, by giving them more of the medications that are needed. Some of the medications need to be given repeatedly. So as it wears off, you give another dose. As it wears off, you give another dose, especially those that are given to keep the patients still, to prevent them from moving. So those are given repeatedly.
So let's just give a sense of anesthesiologists or anesthetist doctors that are in Ghana. Do you have some in every single public hospital in Ghana?
Unfortunately not. When it comes to physician anesthetists, we are not that many. At the last official count, we were about 60 anesthesiologists. That was somewhere in 2015, I think, the last documentation. Since then, of course, we've increased in number, but not that many have added on. Fortunately, now we have a college that oversees the training of anesthesiologists, so gradually we hope that we'll be able to increase our number. So because of that, we are not found in every hospital across the country.
What can go wrong, really, when somebody is put to sleep? What are the things that can just not happen, right?
For anesthesia, we have what we call anesthesia-related problems. Now, the incidence of death due to anesthesia is very low. It ranges between 1 to 4 in 100,000 anesthetics. Okay, it's very low. But having said that, of course, as I said, with every procedure there are problems. For one, as we are putting in the tube, we all vary. there are somewhere it's easy to see where you're going with your tube and put it in, easily connect to the machine. There are some who finding the way into that opening can be challenging.
The tube is going through your throat, is it?
The tube is going through your mouth, into your throat,
okay.
into your the tube that supplies your lungs, so that we can breathe for you. Sometimes finding the way there can be challenging, and if it's too challenging, you can have other problems with your blood pressures going up and that kind of thing. And in the process of doing that, you may also have caused some problems, nipping of a lip, maybe even dislodging a tooth, which occurs not very frequently.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
During the surgery, like you hinted to, you may have what we call awareness under anesthesia, where you may become slightly awake and be aware of what's going on around you. It rarely happens because we are constantly monitoring you. So if there's any hint of that, you see our parameters will change, and then we start increasing the medications we are giving you to gradually reduce what you're having. Now with the regional procedures, after the procedure, you can have backache. It's quite a well-known problem that occurs after.
Okay.
But it's short-lived.
Right.
That's the fortunate thing. It's short-lived, and it resolves after a little while.
Okay. All right. So we put out this, advertised this segment yesterday, and we got some feedback from a couple of people on WhatsApp, and we also have one person on the line that we want to speak with. The person will remain unnamed, but the person has an issue that they wanted to bring out to the public. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Yes, so we're talking anesthesia, benefits and risks. What's your story?
So a week ago, my 5-year-old boy went for cadet duty in the evening, and then I had a call from the church that he'd been injured, but it wasn't that serious. So I rushed to the church premises to pick him up and assess what was really wrong. And I realized that the wound was really deep and needed to be stitched up. So I quickly took him to a hospital. I thought it was going to be a normal procedure for him. So the doctor said he had to put him to sleep before he can do the stitching for him. And I agreed. He asked me a series of questions. Has he taken all his vaccines? I said yes. I think it's wrong. A number of questions, and I answered all positively. So he asked the nurse to put on the thing for him, and then they started gently putting in the drug that would make him sleep. But I think he wasn't sleeping as fast as the doctor wanted. So he just told the nurse, just put everything inside, just put the drug inside. And suddenly the boy's eyes were still open, and he was just lying there like that. And I asked the doctor, why is the eyes not closed? I don't know much about it, but I know that the eyes are supposed to be closed. And he said, oh, you get out from this room. You are not supposed to be here. That's when I realized that maybe there's something wrong. So I went outside and I called my husband to come in and see what's happening. Because then I was shaking, I was traumatized, seeing my 5-year-old boy lying there like that. So my husband came in and the doctor asked him, when he sleeps, does he sleep with his eyes open? And my husband said, no, he sleeps with his eyes closed. They said, okay, you go out, we'll work on him. Go out to work on him. So my husband stood by the window, and then he kept pressing him up, and he was using the oxygen instrument to check the level of his oxygen, and he had to not completely. He wasn't breathing as he should do. So they quickly were running helter-skelter looking for oxygen, and at that point I was so afraid, so scared of losing my son. I didn't know what was going on. You ask the questions and no one is willing to give you an answer. And so I just decided to go and pray to God that God should save my son, because he walked into the hospital by himself. And just a stage, just about 6 or something stitches like this. What am I going to say? What is the story that I'm going to tell people? Then suddenly he called and said, okay, he's breathing normally, he wouldn't be oxygen again. And it took the doctor after this incident, it took him about 10 to 15 minutes. He just stood there, was looking at the board before he could start taking him out. And that was when I realized that he either gave him too much of the drug or something. I just don't know. And in fact, at that point, I was scared. I just wanted to take my son out of the hospital and just go home. And we went back for dressing on Monday. My son said something that, and it got me worried about his thinking. He told the nurse, I want to sleep on this bed for the dressing. And the nurse said, why? He said, when I slept on this bed, I had good dreams. I want to have those good dreams again. And I was scared. In fact, I was really afraid. Seeing his eyes still open and he was lying there like this. And it's difficult. It's difficult to explain.
How's your son now?
He's doing well. He's doing well. I mean, he slept through the whole night till the next morning. I think he woke up around 9 o'clock in the morning. And then the first thing he said was, Mommy, I want to go and ride my bike. Totally forgotten what had happened. I asked him, do you remember what happened? And he said, no, he doesn't remember anything.
And have the stitches been done?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was.
So what's your next step now?
Oh, nothing. I'm just glad my son is okay. I've been talking to you about now. I'm shaking all over.
Yeah.
Yes, it's scary.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
And fist bump to your son from me and all of us.
I will do that.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So she prefers to remain unnamed, but that's a story that she had. You listened to what she said. Of course, you don't have the full details from the doctors as well, but any thoughts?
I can't say much. I can't really address this because I don't know what exactly happened. Unfortunately, because children, it's difficult to talk to them to sit still. Most procedures, they have to be either sedated or given something to keep them still or put under general anesthesia for the procedure, yes. So unless I were to be able to talk to the doctor, the provider, and find out exactly what transpired, I really can't speak to this.
She said something that corroborated what you said, that they don't remember what happened. She says the son does not remember anything that happened.
Yes, with children, they can be blissful when it comes to some of these things. They just go in and out, provided the experience immediately before is not too traumatic. Then they go through it, quite nicely.
Okay. And it's not the effect of the drugs that make them forget about it, because you said
it is.
It's the effect of the drug, right?
Yeah, definitely. Once they are put to sleep properly, they will not remember much of what.
Okay. Is there evidence that people can dream while they're under anesthetic?
I suppose it's very possible that people would dream while they are. People come through and talk about experiences, things that sometimes things that may have happened just before they actually went under, and it all mixes up with their dreams, and they come up with interesting stories sometimes. Yes.
It's always mysterious. You wonder where the people go when they sleep, Let me see if I can get a couple of comments here. So let's see, 055-556-1034. We're looking at the issues of anesthesia with my guest here, Dr. Pokuya Sapong, an anesthesiologist at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We've looked at what the job of an anesthetist physician is and how they get you to the whole process of getting you to go to sleep, and then they bring you out. We've looked at risk factors, risk problems. We've also had a story of a mother and her child. What can you say for somebody who has been booked to go for surgery and is quite worried about having to go to sleep, and you wake them up later on? How do you reassure people like that?
I would always say ask questions. That's one thing about us as Ghanaians. We don't ask questions. I know there are some physicians who may not be too keen on discussing, but for us,
your people intimidate us. Some of your people intimidate us.
I agree to some extent.
I
agree to some extent.
Who is the doctor?
But then for us, we always believe that it's good for you to know what you're going to do. It helps to calm you, and if we have a calm patient, it works better for us. So we want you to ask questions. If you are concerned about something, ask. Let us explain what you're going to go through to you. If you have any concerns, ask us the questions, because if you don't ask, we really won't know what your concerns are. We'll explain to you as best as we can, but if you don't ask us questions, we won't know and we won't be able to help you.
Okay, so ask questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Ask questions, and don't be concerned about appearing too known, as we would say. Just ask, because it's your life, you know, it's going to be your experience. So make it a good one.
So if I were booked for surgery and I said, doctor, tell me, what are my chances of dying?
Under anesthesia,
yes.
1 in 100,000, and that is very slim. You've come a long way. In ages past, we used to knock people off over the head to make them lose consciousness before the surgeons. That was way back in the day, you know. And things have gradually gone on, developed to the extent where we can manipulate. I mean, there are processes where brain surgery can even be done with the patient awake. Awake, singing, playing an instrument, and the surgeon is busy digging about in their brain. So anesthesia has come a very long way. And has become very safe. Because we monitor a whole lot. We, the anesthetists, the anesthesiologists, are the main and most important monitor. And we make sure that we watch everything that's going on. Keep a close eye on our monitors, keep a close eye on the patients, keep a close eye even on what the surgeon is doing down there or up there. So we are the patient's advocates in theatre.
Finally, have you ever been put to sleep by another anesthesiologist? I
have.
Oh, you have?
I have. I had a thyroid surgery.
Okay.
Yes, and I was put to sleep by an excellent anesthesiologist.
Were you worried?
I wasn't actually.
Okay.
I really wasn't. I mean, I knew they would do the very best for me, and I trusted God to do the rest.
How long was your procedure?
It was about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, you don't remember anything of it.
At all. I heard when I woke up, I was saying all kinds of interesting things. I don't remember it.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Okay, Sapong is an anesthesiologist at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We've been looking at anesthesia, the benefits, and the risks. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it was a really, really interesting conversation. I learned a lot. They do all kinds of things. They manage the pain, put you to sleep, and they keep you immobile as well. So some pocket knowledge for me to go and yob with some people elsewhere. Talking about keeping an eye, we'll be keeping an eye on issues around this town. We'll be doing some toll booth adventures. They say no more tolls on the public highways and roads. Let's see how that has affected operations for the toll operators themselves, the people who pay, or who receive our money, and even the whole economy around the toll booth. So we're having a look at that. I'll be looking into issues of the budget. And already one of my guests is here, the Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Odro Osai, who will be joined by my two other guests, two members of Parliament, to look at the budget pronouncements of the Finance Minister. Your comments on 055-556-1034. What do you think about the anesthesia conversation? What your experience with anesthesia, the budget issues, MOMO, this Northern Development Fund conversation, Northern Development Issues Summit happening, and we'll have a chat on that. There's a musical dancer who is going to show Valerie how to move her waist and sing at the same time. And you stay with us. This is
coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital. This is the breakfast show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Oh, the vibe from that song was just awesome. Obrafo and Kofi B, rest in peace, man. Great music, and he will definitely be missed. Beautiful music. Bringing us to the throwback edition and the post-budget edition of GTV Breakfast. And we're going straight into our conversations. My guest was here 2 days ago in a militant mood. And and rightly so. He's Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Eric Odro Osai. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
It's good to have you here. 2 days ago, there was a full spread in today's in a daily graphic with those who failed to send in their third quarter internal audit reports. What's the response after that publication came out on Tuesday?
Thank you very much, and let me say good morning to our viewers and listeners. And I think thanks to GBC, now the response rate is encouraging. The reports are coming in thick and fast.
Oh, nice.
And I've heard that some political heads, ministers, chief executives, have even queried their internal auditors. And that should end there. The chief executive themselves will have to be queried because they should have ensured that this thing gets to the agency. Great. And when they heard that we were going to get the minister to withhold their fourth quarter releases, they thought that it was a serious matter. So they should make the report available.
Fantastic.
We are back. Budget has been read. Funds will be released to them. We'll chase them again to account for those resources. The cycle begins.
I'm so happy. We've gotten results right here on the show, and we thank you very much. We're doing this for Mother Ghana. We need all that money. Yes. Okay, so let's look at the headlines. As expected, everything is all money, taxes, finance, kudi issues. So BFT, Ofuriata, presents bittersweet budget for 2022. New 1.75% tax slapped on electronic transactions. 10 billion Ghana cedis committed to You Start initiative and targets 100 billion cedis in revenue. The Finder leads with 1 million jobs in 3 years as soft loans for youth-led enterprises are unveiled. And there are other ones, no more wasteful tax exemptions. Finance Minister projects 5.8% growth, 7.4% deficit. Let's go to the Ghanaian Times. 2022 budget statement, economic policy, government to spend 137.529 million next year, and that's a figure there. That should be billions, I guess. It can't be millions. Budget does not respond to hardship of Ghanaians assessed minority, and you have the budget highlights on page 16 of today's Ghanaian Times. And in a non-budget story, Medina MP case adjourned to November 29. It's in today's Ghanaian Times. I saw pictures of him in Parliament yesterday. Daily Graphic, road tolls abolished, all toll booths shut with immediate effect, e-levy to fill up a revenue gap, and then minority saying budget unresponsive to pressing needs, and then other stories, 499 law students grateful to President and the Attorney General, IGP, transport operators commit to curb road traffic accidents. So these are the headlines, mainly budget issues, and it's not surprising, is it? I'm going to start with, first of all, just what surprised you about yesterday's budget, Dr. Osei?
Thank you very much.
As a finance person.
Yes, what surprised me was mainly the wholesale total abolition of the road toll. It surprised me because I was thinking that it's a very good avenue for resource mobilization, especially when we need the resources. But upon a sober reflection and then the justification I tried to establish from other finance experts, it seems to me that it is one of the ways to go, except that we have to be very careful about implementation, because when you look at the merits or the challenges of mobilizing that tool, issues of leakages were rife. The risk involved in collecting those resources, the emerging local economic development or local market that were coming up along the toll booths, and the productive time wasted in traffic, that may compensate us for the revenue. But how do we implement this? I read a communique issued by the Roads Minister last night to the effect that effective 12 a.m. Nobody should pay tolls.
Yes.
And I think in political economy, we call it ground preparations for policy implementation. It is a way of avoiding the confusion that will be created in the minds of road users, road toll payers, the collectors, and the general public as to whether they have to pay or not.
So you like the speed?
No, I like the speed, except that I was expecting him to factor in a clause in his letter to the effect that pending Parliament approval of the budget, A, B, C, D. I did not see that one in the letter, but I was thinking that it's applied. But it's a very good intervention.
Right.
We call it policy ground preparation for policy implementation.
Okay, we'll look at that. We'll look at that press release later on in today's conversation about no more road tolls. But let's start with the big one, and we want to call it the sad state of tax payment in Ghana. So the infographic there tells a story. So we have a total population of 30.8 million, and then in terms of the corporate tax. Taxes, you have 45,000 plus entities who have been registered, and then you have the self-employed taxpayers, 54,000 plus. Those are the entities that have been registered. Active contributors to Tier 1 SNIT pension, 1.6 plus million. And then we also have active contributors to the SNIT pension, just over 2.1 million. Registered businesses and at Registered General Department, 136,000 plus. The figures are not encouraging. Population registered for tax is just 2.3 million out of 30 million.
Yes.
So government has an issue of trying to mop up money because a lot of people, the vast majority of Ghanaians, are not paying taxes. But that's what you also say, but they are indirect. Everybody pays indirect taxes. So is this looking at direct taxes?
Definitely, it is looking at direct taxes. And you see, if you have about 2.3 million persons bearing the entire population out of 30.8 million, the question we need to ask ourselves is it that they don't want to pay, or there are leakages, or the systems of paying taxes? are such that it makes it difficult for people to pay tax. You know, one thing about taxation is that you should not make it difficult for people to pay tax. Aside from that, people may want to connect the payment of taxes to service delivery, so that if I'm aware of what they are using my resources for, I'll be able to pay the tax. Again, if you look at a country like Ghana, where out of the 30.8 million, over 60% falls within the informal sector. So if you really want to improve resource mobilization through taxation, what you need to do is, one, widen the tax net. It's not about increasing taxes. Widen the tax network, formalizing the informal sector, trying to seal the leakages and the loopholes in the system, and then also connecting public funds utilization to service delivery, convincing the average taxpayer that I collected so much tax from you, this is what I've used the money for, and then making the tax payment less cumbersome. It's an important matter, because if it becomes difficult for me to pay taxes, and that's the challenge the local government have in collecting property taxes, people will have to walk to the assemblies. Some will not even receive their invoices ahead of time. So if you make the payment of taxes very difficult and cumbersome for people, it's not as if they don't want to pay. They want to pay, but it should not be very expensive for me to pay my tax. So these are the factors the government takes into consideration. You'll be able to rope in a lot of money, seal the loopholes, widen the tax network, formalize the informal sector, connect the tax collection to service delivery, convince the people that, look, if you pay the taxes, this is what I'm using your money for, and then make it less burdensome for people to pay their taxes, and you see the money flowing.
So we have a breakdown by region of the tax situation in this country. Greater Accra contributing almost 90% of our domestic tax, and then Ashanti, Western regions together contributing close to just 3% of domestic taxes. I mean, these figures are mind-boggling, but it's good that you're not doing this conversation with me alone. We're joined by the Member of Parliament for the good people of the Fija, Kwabre North.
Yes.
Honorable Collins Adumaku Mensah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you here.
Yes, we're one of the few presenters who have mentioned the name correctly.
Our standards at GBC are quite high. Yeah, so thanks to our production team. Doing a good job. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing well.
Yes, indeed. So you were in Parliament yesterday?
Absolutely.
Okay. What surprised you about the Finance Minister's statement?
Surprised? I'm not too sure whether I was surprised, because I'm on the Finance Committee, so I was privileged to have gotten some information prior to the presentation. So I was not totally surprised. I was rather excited about his delivery. And there are some few things that he mentioned that excited me. And I'm sure we'll get the opportunity to speak to
Are you surprised by the reaction of Ghanaians to the budget?
That may be a little bit surprised, because since yesterday I've been going through social media, and the reaction has not been bad at all. If I say bad, I mean people have accepted that yes, there's an issue. Globally, the whole global economy is contracting a little bit, and so people understand where government is coming from, and the fact that government has to quickly raise some revenue to meet very needed expenditures.
Just we jumped in, we were talking about the state of tax payment in Ghana. We had some numbers, some startling numbers that I wanted to get you to have your comment on. But the fact that Greater Accra is accounting for 90% of our taxes.
Myself, I was surprised when I looked at the figures.
I am not surprised.
I was surprised when I saw 90%
because
of the entire domestic tax revenue coming from
majority, you see, majority of the businesses are located in the Greater Accra region. The Greater Accra region houses the head offices of all government ministries. So if you have a formal sector dominated tax payment economy, what do we expect? I think what we need to do is to formalize the informal sector, else this trend is going to continue. The people who earn the fat salaries, the businesses that makes a lot of money are mostly located in the Greater Accra region. At best, they can have their branches in other regions. And what is going to happen is that branches will not pay taxes. It's the head office that pays taxes.
But you have a vibrant, informal economy all around the country, and I'm surprised Ashanti and Western.
But that's why measures have been taken to formalize the informal sector, and it is a way of widening the tax network. The way we are proceeding, in fact, if we hadn't changed the dynamics by formalizing the informal sector, you have a few people operating in the formal sector carrying the burden of this country.
Which is what has been happening.
That is it. Well. So the formalization of the informal sector is critical. And if you add that one up to the widening of the tax network, and you add the ceiling of the leakages to it, and then you make tax payment easy for people, and we apply enforcement mechanisms, I tell you, we'll see a lot of money coming in. But when the money comes in, let us connect it to service delivery. Let us convince Ghanaians that this is how much we made from maybe your direct taxes. This is what we have used your money for. And Ghanaians will be more than willing to pay the taxes.
Any comments on that,
I think I agree perfectly with what Doc has said. We have to find a way of widening the tax net. And that's why I'm happy about this whole idea of digitalization, where now your national ID card number obviously become your TIN number and all that. So I'm quite excited about that process, and I'm sure that as we move along and try to get everybody into the net, it's lessen the tax burden on the few people who are paying taxes. You realize that the statistics that we are seeing right now, you have a few people being burdened with all the taxes.
Yep.
And so if it is widened, each person's tax then reduces in terms of the amount that each person contributes. So I think the government is on track. We should just try and support the government in this process.
Looking at that table, from Eastern region, Central region, BA, Volta, North, I mean, in terms of contribution to tax, it's less than 1%. All those regions each, 0.42, 0.25, 0.20. It's just...
That's the formal sector of Ghana, exactly. And it is Accra. The formal sector of Ghana is dominated. It's in Accra. All the headquarters of the various businesses are in Accra. And even the private sector, branches do not pay taxes. It is the head office that pays taxes, whichever way you look at it. That is why for me, if we take this formalization of the informal sector serious, and we are able to seal the leakages and loopholes, make it easier for people to pay, we'll be able to make it out. The statistics are good, but it tells us that, look, we should step up our game when it comes to improving and developing the local economies. And here, the regions and the local government have a critical role to play to support government.
Okay, 055-556-1034. We're looking at the post-2022 budget analysis, and my guest, Dr. Eric Odro-Osai, is the Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, and MP for the good people of Fitch-Akwabere North, Collins Adumaku Mensah, MP. Let's look now at revenue measures. So, yes, how we're going to get all this money that is required to make things happen in Ghana. We're looking at things like e-levy, property rate, a review of temporary benchmark. I'll start with that one, the review of the temporary benchmark. Dr. Osai, surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. We got a hint of it. Guta made their noise. AGI also spoke about it. But I'm happy about one thing.
Is Guta going to be sad?
No, Guta is going to be sad. But, you know, the minister made a statement that they're going to engage all the stakeholders as they move forward towards operationalization. Guta has also signaled that they are meeting their members so they take a common position and engage government on that. I think it is all about engagement and making sure that at least we approach it in a balanced act so that we'll be able to protect our local industry, make sure that we are able to get the revenue that we need. We get both Guta and then AGI operating well, because we need those two institutions. Okay. So I am happy about that.
Well, Collins, let's talk about the e-levy. There's a lot of talk about that.
Yes. First of all, let me take a bite on the benchmark.
Okay.
I think the initial idea was to reduce the cost of importation, and the final effects, as was expected, was if you are importing and the cost of your importation has come down, you were expecting that the goods that you are selling to the final consumer, you should also have some reduction in prices.
Who want to make profit?
Yes, so people were enjoying the reduction in the cost of importation, but they were not transferring that kind of to the consumer. So then what is the effect? Government then is embarking on an industrialization policy, 1D, 1F. We are now pushing money, giving tax exemptions to local industries to grow. Typical example is the Dako farms. Now Daku Farms has about 1 million birds. Now you continue to support importation of the birds coming in at the detriment of your local industry. So I think government had to weigh the two, and at the tail end, of course, no matter what happens, any government policy, there'll be people who will be excited, others who have problems with it. AGI is excited about this policy because for them, it's going to boost local manufacturing companies, which is good for them. Muta is also having an issue. And I'm happy what the minister said, that he intends to speak to them or continue the negotiation. Don't forget that this is just a budget statement that has been read, the policy aspect. We're not going to go into the details in Parliament before its approval. It is even possible that in the negotiations and debates in Parliament and at the various committees,
things can change.
Things can even change. And so for now, I'll ask everybody to relax. Let's see how things go. But for me, I think generally, on the back of our industrialization policy, it is a move that has to be supported.
Okay, let me look at some of the revenue measures. 2-year tax relief for textile manufacturers for industry growth and employment, and then limited VAT flat rate for retailers with annual turnover of up to 500,000 cedis. Dr. Osai, your views on that? So if you're a textile manufacturer, cloth, 2 years, you're not going to pay any taxes. It's a relief for you there.
Yeah. Yes.
To help you to boost your production.
To boost your production, I think it's a very good measure. You know, government is losing there, but it's a good measure to help them prepare.
Can they fight Chinese imports?
Can
they fight Chinese imports? Because the cloths...
No, it's not about fighting Chinese imports. It's about growing your domestic or local industry. And then I think that, you see, within this 2-year period, the businesses should reinvest in their business. You know, so the money that you could have paid as taxes, inject it into the business so the business will grow. The challenge with such a measure is that if you don't provide support measures to the textile industry or the operators in the industry, what will happen is that after the 2-year period, you see them still struggling. You know, when they've entered into a period of rather paying taxes to government, they'll continue to declare losses. That is the challenge that we have. But otherwise, I think it's a very good measure, and it's something that I would encourage all textile manufacturers to take advantage of, so we can grow our total textile industry. And people should not think that we are fighting the Chinese industry. We are not fighting the Chinese industry. We are protecting the Ghanaian textile manufacturing industry. We want it to grow to a point where people will be the Ghanaian textile manufacturers will be the preferred choice as against those that were imported. Because if you look at what is happening now, people come and then take our local fabrics, take it out there, develop it into something else and bring it back to us. But if government has this measure, that will grow the industry within the first 2 years. In the next year, maybe the 3rd year, you will see a number of them springing up with huge capital, huge business bases, and then they will have a positive impact. And when you look at the multiplier effect, it can even create more employment for us. So I think it's all about additional support measures we give to these operators in this industry and how they can harness the tax holidays to the growth of their businesses so that it will have a positive impact on the Ghanaian economy.
Mr. Adomako Mensah, why should a retailer be excited about this limited, the limited VAT flat rate?
Yes, if you look at the limited VAT flat rate threshold to retailers with annual turnover below 500,000, the chunk of Ghanaians who are into retailing fall below this particular 500,000. I know a lot of the retailers who don't go above the 500,000 threshold. And so, yes, it should excite them. I mean, if you're in Makola and you sell and your turnover is below 500,000, you're going to get a flat rate. So, obviously, I mean, all these measures are intended to boost local, the local firms, you know, the local retailers. Just like what Mr. Odosai was talking about the textile manufacturers. The basic problem with textile manufacturers is about pricing. That's the basic thing. What they produce here in Ghana tends to be more expensive than what others bring from China. How do you compete with the Chinese markets? These guys are going to banks to borrow at 0.5% rates, annual rate, whilst we are borrowing at 15-20%. So if you are a manufacturing company in Ghana and you are borrowing at 15%, and in addition you are also paying taxes, there's no way you can compete with the Chinese. So one of the ways to boost your local firms is to come out with this kind of policies to, as it were, give them some kind of strength. So gradually, they start competing with these people. And I'm happy about this. It's a flat rate so that the big retailing companies, the Melcoms, all these foreign-owned companies who have a turnover above that 500,000.
They will pay more. What's our flat rate now? The flat rate that they are talking about for the
it's 12%.
12%?
Yes,
okay.
12% flat rate.
All right. Let's talk about property rates.
I love that.
Yeah, let's talk about property. You're smiling,
yeah.
Dr. Osai. Let's talk about property rates because it's one of the measures. For a long time, the feeling is that the figures are just ridiculously low. And even those low figures are not being harvested. Nobody's picking those rates. People can go for years without paying property rates. What new thing have you seen in this budget that will boost revenue from property rates?
See, the new thing I've seen here is the common platform that government intends creating in collaboration with the GRA. And this is within the GRA's mandate. When you look at Section 3E of the GRA Act, it gives them a function to advise MMDAs on the assessment and collection of their revenue. And we know GRA has some good systems. With GRA, if you fail to pay, they will apply the sanction, they will apply the rules. One of the challenges local government have had in mobilizing property taxes, especially the urban municipalities, is about enforcement and even issues of valuation. Because you know the property taxes is based on valuation. If you do a very good valuation and you apply appropriate rate inputs, you'll be able to get the money. Applying the rate inputs, serving the invoice and collecting the money are important activities on the chain. But because of the political expediency, at the point you get somebody going in there and doing an undervaluation, the rate impost will be imposed and you realize that you see an imposing building and the person will pay a property rate of 300 Ghana. Even that will not be paid. Collecting is difficult and most of the local government have subcontracted this to private collectors, and these private collectors charge between 30 to 40% commission for collecting it. So if they charge 30 to 40% commission to collect, assembly will collect it. After that, how would assembly use the money? So what the government is saying is that let us activate Section 3E of the GRA Act. Let GRA develop its systems. Let GRA have the common platform to support the assemblies, and then agree with the assemblies on a percentage term. And I'm expecting that percentage term to be lower than the 30 to 40% they pay to commission collectors. Once this happens, GRA will then come in to support the assemblies with enforcement mechanisms. The politics of property tax collection will reduce. And for GRA, if you don't pay, they take you to court. People will be afraid and they will run to pay. It has happened in this country before. Before this assembly common fund came, we had a system we call seeded revenue. Under that one, GRA was collecting the money, the NRS. They were collecting the money, and then it will be transferred to the Ministry of Local Government. And the Ministry of Local Government will distribute it amongst the various local government. So it is doable. And I'm happy about it because now everybody will pay. Now they will pay realistic property taxes. Now the politics will be reduced. Now people will not think that, look, the money I can decide not to pay. Now the high commission rate they pay to private firms will reduce. And you know what? Most of these private firms are owned by certain people. And because of the politics of it, even using proper procurement procedures to recruit them or to get them to collect this property rate is a challenge. So all these things will be a thing of the past. Politicization of local revenue will be a thing of the past. Once GRA comes in and they have the common platform, they collect and they agree with the MMDAs, transfer their money to them. MMDAs will have a lot of money collected at less cost to them. And for me, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing that is happening.
Yes, let me make a correction. The flat rate is 4%.
4%?
The 12.5% is the other, those who go above the 500,000. I'm excited about this property rate. Because let me just confess. The first time I paid in the property rate was just about 2 months ago.
I see.
Because nobody had even come to my house.
They should have taken you to court.
Nobody. I thought it's important, and I'm not alone in this.
I see.
A lot of people, they don't come as you were saying. Yes. Nobody even approaches your house to
they are afraid.
Seek for even property.
They think because you are an MP, they are afraid.
Oh,
you know the politics of it. The politics. We have to depoliticize the whole
thing. The point is that one of the most important things about this property rate is identification, and that is why I was happy about the government's drive about this numbering system.
The house numbering system.
You have to first identify the house to even approach the house. So that first step of giving each house a unique number is very, very significant. And I'm sure it's on the basis of that now it has become easier for you to move into this property rate collection very seriously. And I like the way, government is talking about even decentralizing that process. That is how it should be. At the district level, let them know that if left to me alone, it's given a budget, because now the statistics department statistics, they brought out this the census that came out. Now we have the data. We know the number of institutions or households that are in the country. There's nothing wrong in giving targets to individual assemblies as to how much you expect to be collected. I'm excited about it. I think it's one area that government has done so well over the years. And if indeed, per the statistics that we have now, the number of buildings in the system, if we are able to capitalize on it and go on to collect our taxes, it's going to be a fantastic source of revenue to the state.
And Kafu, I think there may be implementation issues, but that can be resolved, because the local government may have prepared their composite budget for 2022 already. So and they have budgeted for a certain property taxes and what they are going to use it for. But the budget guideline also makes provision for a revision of the budget in the first quarter. So it is easier. I'm happy about it, except that let us make it transparent so that GRA should not also think that because it's a local government revenue, they will relax and concentrate on the other taxes that they've been collecting. They should prioritize this one too, and then make sure that they help the local government grow the property rate, especially the urban local governments.
Let's talk about the e-levy, and that has generated a lot of conversation around Momo and there. So, Honorable Adoma Kumensa,
yes.
What do you say to someone who says that the taxes are unbearable? There's a Momo tax, you've cut off tolls, but it's not free, and it's basically too many things are being taxed.
I'm not too sure this particular budget brought too many taxes. Of course, we just talk about some reliefs that government have announced. So I'm not too sure if there are too many taxes in this particular budget.
The Momo tax has generated a lot of conversation.
Yes, and
1.75% on transactions over 100.
I've listened to a cross section of people.
What was the thinking about that? Because you had inside information before you came out. What was the thinking behind taxing Momo?
The thinking is that, although I was even talking about coverage.
Yes.
Basically coverage. We looked at the initial statistics that you gave and realized that a chunk of our domestic tax revenue comes from Accra. But those in the upper west, upper east, savannah regions all need roads. But you could see their contribution to the total tax net. But they all need roads. If you're a government, you then have to ask yourself, how then do you rope everybody in to contribute to the development? Now, somebody lives in Cantonment, works at East Legon. All the roads are tied. From Cantonment to East Legon, there's no toll booth. So he plies on very good roads, but somebody lives at Kaswa, sells at Kaneshi, but every other person has to pay a road toll that goes to fund the Cantonment road. So government was in the fix. Do you then put an additional tax on fuel, which is the easiest way to rope everybody in? Obviously, the discussion around fuel now, it would have been unthinkable for government to have introduced a new tax on fuel. So government had to be innovative. And as we speak now, the data we are having from the Bank of Ghana says the total electronic, in terms of electronic transactions, almost 560 billion electronic transactions. So if you're a government and you want to get some revenue, obviously these are
eyeing that money.
You
guys are eyeing that money. Look at the Momo transactions.
And not just Momo, I'm talking about electronic transactions.
560 billion
cedis. It's even outweighing or surpassing the transactions within the banking system. And that's why people, and I've listened to Dr. Dosa and a lot of the academics, say that if you are not careful, if the banks are not even careful, the kind of transaction going on the Momo platforms, it will get to a time you might not be even relevant. There might not be the relevance of that branch.
The last time I went to the bank, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything is on the phone.
On the phone. Yes.
So government wants a slice of that money.
So government wants a slice of that money to do other things.
What are the telcos saying?
Well,
did you have conversations with them before you came up with this?
That I think is the ministry. I have not had any personal interaction with the telcos. But normally when this happens, I'm sure by now there's meeting going on in the telcos and all that. I mean, at this stage, this is where we are going to go into the nitty-gritty of the policy, and it's going to happen in Parliament, and I'm sure all the stakeholders will come.
Why 100 CDs? Why? So if I send a transaction less than 100 CDs, I will not get charged that tax. Over 100 CDs, then it's 1.75.
Yeah,
so if I send 1,000, it's 1.75% of that.
Of 900.
Of 900.
Of 900. Oh, the first 100 is free.
It's free.
10,000.
The first 100 is free.
And then 9,900
yes.
will be taxed at 1.75%.
Government also was not oblivious of the fact that there are some very poor people within the system. And so in my constituency, for instance, I mean, ordinarily, somebody sending money to another person within the constituency will be around the 1,500 cedis. Those people are exempted. But if I'm in Accra and I want to send money to my mother, and I want to send 1,000, I'm in Accra. I mean, I have a certain level of economic activity. And so at that particular point, government then will tap into yours to get some funding to help your mother in the village to construct road in the village.
Let me ask you a theoretical question. So I want to send you 900 CDs. If I send 900 in 10 tranches of 1990,
okay, so if you do it in a day, it's 100 CDs a day. So if you do 100 now at 9 o'clock, and because you want to beat the system, at 12 o'clock you do another 100, the system will capture you that today you've done 200. So then you'll be roped into the system. You'll be caught in the net. However, if you do 100 CDs a day, and that is why the budget says 3,000 per month is free. Because if you do on a daily basis 100 CDs to 3,000, 30 days, it means you are exempt from this particular tax. Yes. So the idea is that if you do anything above 100 CDs in a day, you get charged the 1.75.
Okay, we have to put this whole thing in context.
Yes.
Else people will get it wrong.
All right.
You see, it is a way of widening the tax network.
Yes.
It's a way of formalizing the informal sector.
Indeed.
It's a way of ensuring that we'll be able to collect the tax at less cost.
Okay.
You see, and the effective date, as proposed in the budget, is 1st of February 2022.
So there's some time.
So there's still some time.
Okay. It's time also for me to bring in another discussant on the program. He is the Member of Parliament for Ho Central in the Volta region, the Honorable Benjamin Komla Bodo. Engineer, good morning. Good morning, welcome to the show. We're discussing post-2022 budget issues. I have in the studio with me the Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Odro Osai, and one of your colleagues, the MP for Efija Kwabre North, Collins Adumaku Mensah. We're looking at the budget. First question, what has surprised you about the delivery of the budget yesterday? What surprised you? Which item really shocked you or surprised you?
Mainly, I was surprised by the imposition of the e-levy, which is going to burden virtually everybody, because we are trying to ensure that we have a cashless society. And now what we have is that if you want to do electronic transactions.
Before you continue, Honorable Podo, can you kindly lower the volume? There's some radio talking in the background there, and it's affecting us. Yes. 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 Please mute it for us, and then we can hear you loud and clear. Fantastic.
Yes. So if we are encouraging a cashless society, and we are now imposing tax on all electronic transactions, then we are telling people that go to the bank, collect your money, put it in your bag or in your boot, and go home with it. Then you encourage thievery and all those things that follow holding of a lot of cash. So you see that the benefits from the digitization will not be enjoyed by the very many people whom we are encouraging to use electronic means of transactions. That is one worry. The other side of it is the road tolls. Do we need really to abolish road tolls? Because all over the world, road tolls do exist. If the collection is inefficient, let's find a way of doing it. That's why when you get to the road toll now, you see the toll booth, you have places where you use an e-card and then you just go. But others you have to hand over cash. If that is the problem, why don't we make it more efficient instead of abolishing it? Hoping that we will rake in money from e-levies to do what we are doing. That's just my worry.
Those are your worries. As an alternative, how would you, if your administration were in power, how would you advise the government or the finance minister to raise revenue and to cover a wider range of Ghanaians, bearing in mind that 90% of our domestic taxes are coming from Greater Accra region alone? What would be your suggestion?
There are existing taxes, the collection of which creates a problem. I think the way to go would have been to ensure that we reach many people who are supposed to pay these taxes. So we were thinking that the digitalization process will enable us to identify more people who are supposed to pay the present taxes that are there, not the introduction of new ones. Because the idea that we are going to abolish road tolls and introduce e-transactions so as to cover many people is the one going to create problems for the population, the tax-paying population. This is our worry, and we think that if we had maintained the existing taxes and then develop means of collecting them, that would be better for the citizenry. That is why when you are using this, we are introducing the use of PIN, which is now turned into the what do you call it, the Ghana card identification numbers. You can reach people to collect the existing taxes, not to introduce new ones.
So, but the figures also show that there's 560 billion cedis worth of electronic transactions. And if the government is going to now charge a 1.7.5% levy on transactions above 100 cedis, there's a lot of money that can be raked in, and the coverage issues would be taken care of because everybody and their mother-in-law is sending money across the platforms electronically. You would have covered the south of the country, and you'd have brought in money, good money, to build the roads and construct bridges and help develop the country.
You see, when you do that, you burden the poorest of the poor, because the little money you send to your mother or your father in the village, you are going to pay tax on it.
No, but it's the sender who pays the tax, not the receiver.
I know. So if I want to send 100, or if I want to send 200, and I know that I'm going to pay tax on it, I'll reduce it. I'll take out the tax and send less money. So
your 200 with 3 cedis, 50 pesos, or some 2 cedis, you can't spare that?
No. You see, little drops of water make a mighty ocean. So when you are doing that transaction, you are sending so much to so many people, eventually you find out that you have lost a lot in tax revenue.
Okay. All right. So you don't agree with the e-levy, you don't agree with the road tolls.
No, I think it is a draconian measure. Even though government can get money out of it, you are going to place a lot of people in hardship.
Okay.
People will just abandon the transfer to electronic means and be carrying money either to travel with it or to give other people to go and deliver for them. So that's what is likely to happen. So
should we expect some vigorous arguments from you and other like-minded people against this 1.75% levy?
Exactly so. That's why we indicated that yesterday, that we are not in favor of it. So we will resist it in position. when the bill comes for us to examine.
What else will you be resisting before I let you go, sir?
So far, that's the most draconian thing we have discovered.
All right.
And we were waiting for the bill to be brought, and then we examine it with my colleague Colin at the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Host Central, Mr. Benjamin Komla Wodo Akpanao. Thank you. Back to the matter, as the popular song says.
But yes. You see, what surprises me is that the Honourable MP is prepared to pay charges if he transfers to the telcos.
Yes.
But to pay taxes on any amount in excess of 100 to government is a problem. What is forgotten is that it is a pro-poor program. Because if you are sending under 100 or up to 100 Ghana, you don't pay anything. And when you go to most of our villages and peri-urban areas, this is what they do. Somebody will tell you, just send me Momo, 100 Ghana, and it works. And the government has also indicated areas of usage. And you see, I think people are misconstruing it to mean a Momo levy. It's not a Momo levy. It's a levy on all electronic transactions. Electronic transactions. And electronic transactions goes beyond Momo. It includes bank transfers, merchant payments, and inward remittances. There are a lot of people who use this Momo to do all kinds of businesses. And government is saying, look, pay 1.75%, which is easier to collect. And I tell you, the monies that government can mobilize from this particular source in the first quarter, you can't imagine that. The areas of usage
of 6.5
that's right.
6.5 billion.
Yes, yes. And look at where government wants to use the money.
No, for the year.
For the year.
The government wants to use the money in 5 key areas.
$1 billion.
Entrepreneurship, to promote businesses, youth employment, cyber security, digital and road infrastructure. And because it is an electronic transaction levy, government wants to tighten cyber security to prevent and reduce fraud. Government wants to invest in public transport. And also government has indicated the 5 areas of usage. So then my advice to government is that let there be transparency in this mobilization. In the first quarter, let Ghanaians know how much you have mobilized from the e-levy. Right. And then after that, give us areas of expenditure in the 5 areas where you have invested these monies. And once Ghanaians see this, you will be satisfying the connection taxes to service delivery principle of revenue mobilization.
I was reading an article yesterday on why low-income countries are not gathering enough tax revenue. And the recommendation at the end of the article was that the tax systems must be fair, they must be affordable, they must be transparent. Right. You agree 100%?
I do. You know, the average Ghanaian is not against payment of taxes. Ghanaians have taste for good things. We have eye for good things. What Ghanaians want to see is how their taxes are used. So the transparency bit is important. Once government is able to connect service delivery with the tax mobilization, Ghanaians will pay irrespective of the percentage you charge. Ghanaians go, I mean, even if it is mobile phones, how many Ghanaians are using a certain type of phone, maybe iPhone and then an Android phone? It is expensive, but because of the quality and security of that particular phone, they may want to buy. So I think that the transparency, the fairness, making it easy for people to pay, less cumbersome, and then widen the tax network, bringing the informal sector into the tax network. I mean, that will be fine.
Should go far. Mr. Dumaku Mansa, another big one, and the Honorable will talk about it. No more road tolls is a big issue.
Yes. And I think I want to associate myself with my senior colleague's point about fairness. And let me assure him also that government is committed to that kind of fairness and transparency. And in fact, when we move into our sector or sector committees, and we're going to have this kind of debate,
okay.
You realize that even the communications ministry will appear before the communications committee.
All right.
And the amount that they intend to rake in for use in this cyber security thing will come. And so at that point, everything will be clear.
So transparency will be guaranteed?
Transparency will be guaranteed.
So and as a precursor to that, we have our man, Alan, on the ground.
Okay.
At a place that used to collect tolls
okay.
up until midnight yesterday. Oh, very good. Good morning, Alan, Darrell Alan Tego. Tell us where you are right now.
Hello,
okay, so this is actually... What's up? Where are you?
Hello.
Yes, Jay, I can hear you loud and clear. I believe you are. Where are you? I know you're somewhere in the Greater Accra region, I believe. Where are you?
Yes. So good morning again. So a lot of things happening this morning, and we are at the Kaswa Toll Booth here to monitor the situation. After the finance minister announced the abolishment of all tolls on the toll booths and the bridges. So the situation here is a bit chaotic, but I just want you to see that since that directive was issued, the Minister of Roads and Highways said it will be effective from 12 midnight today. And as you can tell, drivers who are applying this route, usually what I like to refer to as the bedrock of traffic, there's nothing here at the moment. And you see them free flowing and all that. And there's some people who don't realize that they are not supposed to pay the tolls. So what happens is you still have some drivers who get there and try to give receipts, pay their toll, but they realize there's nobody in the booth. And you realize for most of them, they are not used to the situation. So you find people honking at them. And then the traders around here, they're also anxious because they don't know how they are going to apply their trade. Some of them are saying they've taken loans to buy goods, and that's what you see around the area as well, because this is where their market is, this is their place of business. It may be illegal, but this is how they run their business. Before lockdown, for instance, they were informed this is what was going to happen, so they were able to sell their wares. But at the moment, no information. The directive came so suddenly that most of them weren't aware, and this is what they have faced. Fortunately, this morning I have with me Honourable Sylvester Tete, the Member of Parliament for Botiano English Amanfro. He was here earlier to address the hawkers and give them some feedback and try to alleviate their situation for them. And before he came to me, I would just like for him to reiterate what he plans to do as an MP for the traders. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Thank you very much, and how are you doing?
Fine, thank you, boss. So this morning, I heard you addressing the traders. Most of them are concerned that, so for instance, some of them have taken loans, to buy goods so that they can come and sell at this booth. And then the way the directive came, it came so suddenly that they weren't able to prepare and sell off their wares. So now some of them are complaining, how would they be able to pay off their loans? How would you alleviate their situation for them?
Well, obviously, it's quite unfortunate, and I sympathize with them. But of course, government taking decision or bringing out a policy will always weigh the consequences on the general public and then the impact of a policy. No government policy will not affect anybody. Definitely, every government policy will affect somebody one way or the other. That is why I'm here this morning to meet them, to explain the importance of this policy to them. Many residents living in and around this place and even beyond are celebrating this decision of government. However, this same decision has affected a cross-section of my constituents. You see them all around. That is why I'm here. What I can do to rally support for them so that they don't lose their business entirely. That is why I'm here. From my own resources as a member of parliament, I'm going to support them in my own small way, and I'm going to liaise with the municipal assembly as a matter of urgency to create a temporary market outside this location for them, and then to integrate some of them into the existing market you have in the constituency. So that...
Honorable, some of them too have the opinion that this is where they want to trade. They don't want to move to any market. What do you have to say to
you don't take that decision for government. Anybody who says this is where I want to trade, this is not the market. We must understand that. That's what I told them. This is not the market. For somebody to say this is where I want to trade. Can you say I want to trade on the street? No. There's a law against street hawking, even in this country. So for me, it is out of humanity that I'm here to support their situation. So I think that they should not go to the extent that this is where I want to trade. You see, government has not asked them to move. Okay. Because the toll is decommissioned, you will move naturally. Because no car stops here. The traffic is not building up. Do you think they stop by any part of the road and say we want to sell? The street is from here to Elubo. They can decide to sell anywhere, but you can't sell anywhere. It's a situation that has necessitated a temporary market. And once the toll booth is decommissioned, obviously there will not be market for you. You see the vehicles passing with speed. So nobody will stand here for you to
Honorable, you realize that for most of the toll workers, they are not in their booths this morning. We understand they will be reassigned. Do you have any idea where those positions will be?
Well, obviously they work at the ministry. They work at the ministry. And when the president says they will be reassigned, obviously they will be reassigned into other government agencies under or department under the same ministry. And they
at the moment, will they still receive salaries until that reassignment comes through?
They will receive salaries. They will receive salaries until then. Yeah.
You mentioned training them with some skills. Do you have any idea what skills you can get them so they don't have to apply their trade in this area?
Like you heard me say, I can't force a vocation or trade apprenticeship on anybody. You come out of your will, what you really want to do, and I'll fund it. That's what I'm going to do. So we're going to do a registration. Those of them who want to learn a vocation or a trade, obviously, we'll take it and we'll look for master craftsmen in the constituency and fund the training for them.
The concern is this trade they are learning. How would they sell stuff, to pay off their debtors while they are still learning a new skill at the moment? Well, that's the pressing concern for them right now. Is there any kind of compensation coming in for them? Because this came suddenly, I don't know if there are any plans for that.
I mean, I've said that I will support them. Not everybody you see here is a resident or a constituent for that matter. But I'm coming out of my way to support them in my own small way. I don't know, I don't have the data of all the numbers available. That is why I said my team is coming to do the registration. After the registration, I'll know the numbers, I'll look at my strength and see how I can support them. But that's not a compensation for anybody to expect a compensation from me. But I know we are so close to Christmas, and this is the time they also make a living for their family. That is why I'm coming in at this stage to support or to assist them. So for that reason, that is why I'm doing that. But nobody should take this gesture to mean that they are demanding a compensation from government. To begin with, government has not asked you to stop selling here. It is a policy of government that this toll booth should be decommissioned. It's a decommissioning of the toll booth that has rendered their market non-existent. And for that reason, nobody will force you to go. We have not asked them to leave this place. Nobody has asked anybody to leave this place. Because the cars are not stopping because of the traffic, you have to relocate yourself. And it's part of business. But I'm, as a member of parliament, coming to their aid to assist them.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So that was the member of parliament for Botiano English Amanfro, the Honorable Sylvester Tete, trying to alleviate and mitigate some of the troubles the traders here are going through. So he's also stressing on the fact that there will be no compensation for them. Nobody should be expecting that. Of course, it is illegal to be here and sell in the first place. So this is the situation right now at the Kaswa toll booth. I used to refer to this place as a bedrock of traffic, but that is not the situation anymore. You can tell it's free-flowing and smooth for those clients who are going to Accra, heading into Kaswa and all that. It's free-flowing. You just go through and that's it. So this directive is affecting people in the right way, and it's also affecting others negatively. So this has been the Keep an Eye report from the Kaswa toll booth. Back to you, Kaf, in the studio.
Thank you very much, Jay. The bedrock has been broken because there are going to be effects as a result of this. I mean, just the stroke of a pen or a pronouncement, and people's lives have changed. I saw crates of beer. I saw crates of beer at that toll booth. It looks like a whole container load of products. That economy is good. The toll booth economies are going to be affected all around the country.
Yeah, definitely. But the local government have a role to play in this. And Kafi, let me congratulate and commend the MP for the swift reaction, the move he made. That is what we expect of our leaders. You just don't leave everything to government. And I would expect all chief executives across the country, wherever there are toll booths, to quickly liaise with their NBSSI officers or the GEA officers so they will be able to get this issue resolved. It can be resolved. Yet they were operating illegal business there. But you, the local government, what do you have to do? Government has come up with a policy. This can easily be resolved. The MP has done well, and I will commend him for that.
You want to see the MCE or the assemblyman?
I want to see the MCE there. What are the MCEs doing? They should not be after MCEs. They should move there, because this has security implications. You, the MCE, you are the chair of the District Security Committee. What are you sitting at home for? The president has given a directive, a policy has come out, the MP has moved to the place, people were selling around the place. To start with, you, the chief executive, you should have stopped them because they were doing illegal business. You never did that. Government has come out with this policy. It is being implemented. Minister for Roads has come out with a communique. Chief executive, early in the morning, get there with your NBSSI officer. Let us see how best you can either relocate them or help them get out of the place in a very nice manner so that the local economy will not be affected. So I invite all chief executives to quickly take action on this matter and move to the place so that it will make implementation easier for government. Else, decentralization will be defeated. They are rather forcing government to recentralize because the powers given to them, they are not able to exercise it.
Mr. Aduma Komesa, your thoughts on seeing the action
my colleague Stephen for the swift move. I mean, sometimes you need to see your leader when there are issues. I mean, he meeting them and speaking to them, explaining to them the rationale behind the policy and the fact that the amount of money that we're going to rake in is going to go into, and he was talking about development, youth development. part of the money, as Mr. Osai has just said, usage of the e-levy is going to go into youth employment and entrepreneurship.
Will you start to be funded by some of these monies?
Absolutely. It's part of it. I mean, it's part of the amount that is going to come from this. You start is going to benefit from it.
Right.
And he is in the position, he's the chair of
Ghana Enterprise. He used to be MBS.
Yes, he's the chair of the board chair, and so he's in a better position to even speak to these matters.
Yeah,
a chunk of this money.
I hope they know that, so they know that they are talking to the right person.
He understands it's better, and that is why he moved in swiftly to assure them that government is taking you off the streets, but there are other alternatives. Yes. You can go into training, entrepreneurship, and what you are doing is entrepreneurship. It's like they've initiated something on their own.
You saw the beer there.
You're much concerned about the beer.
You saw it's right there.
I did see
this guy set up a whole store, man.
Yes,
Heineken, all kinds of things there. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's locked up capital.
Absolutely. And the minister in his presentation did say that they intend to absorb them. As to the form of the absorption, I'm sure it will come up in our deliberations in Parliament.
The absorption is for the toll booth operators. So.
Yes,
that's my understanding.
Yeah, not the economy.
No, the economy, the MMDAs can absorb the local economy.
Yes, indeed.
But the other ones, the government would absorb.
And I just think that the urban roads could have also been more customer friendly by putting signs before the approach to the toll booth saying no more tolls. So because drivers kept, my reporter Jay said, drivers kept slowing down because they thought that they were going to be paying tolls. There could have been some signs on the road to say, hey.
My only word was that they said the e-levy takes effect from the 1st of February.
Yes.
I don't know how come they were that swift in the implementation of this.
Yes. That also
because
surprised
others have
me.
Also, others have questioned the legality. You know, Fees and Charges Act, you have to come back to Parliament.
Yeah. Why the swiftness?
But you see, it is also, I indicated that it is policy ground preparation. It is to avoid the confusion that it is likely to create. Because you can imagine what would have happened. Others may say that, well, I heard it in the news that we are not supposed to pay. And then somebody said that you have to pay. Then the argument and all of that. So to avoid that policy confusion in the minds of people, they thought that, look, the Minister for Roads would have to quickly issue that statement. And then it is government that is losing, I must say. Yeah, because between now and December, government is going to, in February, government is going to lose some money. Yeah. The tolls.
And over a year was like something million.
Well, that is why the minister is saying that doing a cost-benefit analysis is better we abolish it than to allow it to be in the books. And if you look at the leakages that comes with it, it's also not the best. So I think that the swift move is to avoid confusion in the minds of road users and even confusion at the various toll booths as a result of the announcement yesterday. So it is an interim measure to prepare the grounds for full operationalization of the policy.
We'll leave it here. Dr. Eric Odrosan is the Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, and seated next to him is the MP for Efija Kwabre North, the Honorable Collins Adomako Mensah. Gentlemen, I thank you for your contributions to the conversation. I wish you a beautiful day.
Thank you too.
And still to come, conversations on the Northern Ghana Development Summit. And then the Ghana Presbytery, it has 100 years of Osu Presbyterian Children's Service. Fantastic. That takes me back to my youth. I used to live in that area. So that church is just like when I'm there, it's like I'm home. And then Valerie will be talking with the musical dancer, or is it the dancing musician? All shall be revealed and made sense of at the right time. This is hashtag GTV Breakfast. WhatsApp number 055-556-1034. Your thoughts on the budget, on the Momo, the e-levy, Kaswa Toll Booth, Tamamoto Way, and all other related issues. Keep them coming in. I'll see you after.
Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Thanks for joining us, Comic Ekena from Book Back, throwing us all the way back in the day. And I'm sure it's up to something. You play the Comic Ekena for the gang girl, but hey, I love that. I love that new one of my favorites. Thanks for joining us. This show is made possible by Awake Purified Mineral Water, Shield Acrylic Paint, and Adonko Next Level Energy Drink. Thanks to Befitting by SFBG for my lovely outfit. We are settling into this discussion on development and the disparity between what happens in the south and what happens north of the Republic. So a number of years ago, the government set up the Northern Development Authority to help address issues of underdevelopment of the northern regions of Ghana, and they have instituted an annual summit which they call the Northern Ghana Development Summit, to bring together state and non-state actors, including institutions and individuals, onto one big non-partisan forum to assess, discuss and recommend actions to accelerate progress of the north of the country, and also to address the disparity in the development gap between the north and the south. So we're going to be seeking to understand some of these issues a bit better and what this year's summit is all about. At the table to help with this is, from my immediate left, Dr. Suleiman Abdulaziz. He is the board chairman of the NDA. Doc, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
And next to him, Eunice Abenyaze, the program manager of Star Ghana Foundation. Eunice, morning and welcome.
Thank you very much.
So I'll just start off by asking you, perhaps, Doc, when we talk about the disparity between the north and the south, how big is this gap? Is that a real thing?
Yes, I'd like to begin by saying good morning to your faithful listening public. I think the disparities between the north and the south can be seen at two levels. The first is historical, in terms of the levels of development and investment that went in since the colonial period in the north relative to the south. And I think it's very obvious to everybody that there's a lot more infrastructure, a lot more roads here, a lot more industry, and so on and so forth. Then, of course, there are the disparities that are to do with the natural agroecological conditions. The northern parts of Ghana are not as endowed with, like for example, in the south you have two rainy seasons. In the north there's one rainy season with a prolonged dry season, which means farmers cannot cultivate anything during the dry season, which can go up to 7 months. And of course, there are also what we call some structural problems that are to do with the very location of the north relative to the south.
I mean, the south is we are near the coast, and in the north, so that means there's access routes to the other parts of the world by way of sea transport and so on and so forth. The north is a bit landlocked, and our only relationship is likely in terms of proximity, the sub-region, Burkina, Mali, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think the disparities are historical, but also to do with some structural factors as well.
And you started with 3 regions. Now there's 5 regions in the north. And what's the plan to bring the north along the development drive so it can catch up with the south? Because we know that even despite the agroecological conditions, countries like Dubai and other places also have desert conditions, and they appear to have made a lot of headway.
Yeah. In fact, actually, that's really interesting, because I think there are what I would call really huge opportunities for development to happen in the north. And the first, for example, is if we take the government policy, the commitment of the government to equality between the regions, which means that there are programs and policies that have been adopted to ensure that the less developed parts of the country are able to catch up with the rest of the country. And then also there are resources in the north. The north is not poor. The north is not poor. It's just that investments in what we have in the north has not been as strong or committed as we've seen in other parts of the country. For example, we have large amounts of agricultural land. We have water bodies that provide opportunities for agriculture during the dry season, the rainy season, so long as we would have some irrigation investments and so on and so forth. But also potentially there are places that there are iron ore deposits in parts of the north, and even gold deposits. And there has been speculation that there's even oil. The oil deposits have been found in some parts of the north. So there are opportunities for investments in agriculture, investments in industry, and so on and so forth. So it's just a question of what one does with the opportunities or the potential that we have in northern Ghana.
And I'll bring Eunice in here. What's Star Ghana's business with the collaboration, or what's your interest in collaborating with the NDA?
Great. As Star Ghana, so let me start by saying that the Star Ghana Foundation builds on the work of the Star Ghana program, which started as a donor program to support civil society organizations and their engagement with government on promoting good governance, on promoting equal distribution of public goods and services. Over the years, we have worked with different partners, both state institutions and non-state institutions, to undertake various interventions in the north. And I think that we started looking at the issues of disparities when you compare northern Ghana with the south. And so for us, addressing issues of inequalities, addressing issues of deprivation, addressing issues of poor development is what takes us to do more of our work in northern Ghana. And we have worked with the Northern Development Authority for some time, and we have actually been at the forefront, and also again with the regional coordinating councils, because it's important to mention them, because in all conversations it's important to have the political demonstration of commitment to issues of development in northern Ghana. And so we have worked with these institutions to institute mechanisms that convenes conversations of critical actors in development, to map out, first of all, to assess the progress of development, to also map out strategies for accelerating the progress, because we have known for years that there are critical steps to take, you know, to address issues, and we are not working fast at this. And I work with the Northern Development Authority because it's a state institution that have mandate to coordinate development interventions, and so with their involvement there is leverage for political commitment of resources, political commitment in any other kind to address the issues that are coming up with regard to Northern Ghana's development. So specifically on two things, we have collaborated with the Northern Development Authority to come up with a tool for coordinated stakeholder actions around peace and development in Northern Ghana, what we call the roadmap for peace and development in Northern Ghana, which is to implement several interventions to address the fragile peace in Northern Ghana, but also to collaborate on other interventions that builds communities' resilience, you know, to triggers of conflict, to triggers of insecurity. And at the 2020 summit,
I'm getting to that point. So this summit, it's not the first time you're organizing the summit. Why was it instituted in the first place, and what have you achieved so far?
No, I think the summit started with what was called the MOLI series. Every year there was this sort of summit, or there was meetings held in MOLI, the MOLI Game Reserve, that brought together the same stakeholders. They met every year to look at what were the issues, the challenges facing Northern Ghana, what were the opportunities, what could one do to address these challenges. And in fact, as Eunice was just about to say, the 2020 summit, actually, and even an earlier summit was a precursor to the establishment of the Northern Development Authority. Because, as you know, we had this Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, which was SADA, and that was preceded, but that was followed by Northern Development Authority. And the ideas, some of the initiatives and the thinking behind these institutions actually came from some of these summits that were held. So the current summit is just a continuation of what used to be called the MOLI series. Yes.
And what have you hoped to achieve? Because you mentioned challenges, and in your initial submission you talked about the land, and you know, Eunice alluded to the fragile peace. How have you worked through all this to achieve your desired outcomes?
I think the summit provides a platform for the key stakeholders, the government sector, the private sector, civil society organizations, and in fact, institutions like yourselves, the media, to come together and look at how to take advantage of the opportunities that are in the North, to attract investors to the North, to take advantage of what we have that could actually help accelerate economic growth in the North, inclusive economic growth, which in a sense is to say we are investing, but we are making sure that as we invest, we are bringing as many people as possible in that part of the country into the process of development.
Are there any specific stories or success stories you can tell us about how the talk has gone beyond talk into action, and has brought direct benefit to people in the northern part of the country that you can share with us?
Well, yes, I think if you look at the Northern Development Authority as an institution, you will find that, for example, the government IPEP program, which was infrastructural programs for poverty alleviation programs, they were instituted under the Ministry for Special Initiatives, and the facilitating institutions that actually carried out some of those programs were the NDA. They were involved in carrying out initial grassroots participative investigations on what each area wanted, and then out of that came out programs, dedicated programs to address programs around infrastructure, roads, dams, and so on and so forth. And then the government's One Village, One Dam program, some of that also was through work done closely between the Ministry for Social Development Initiatives and the Northern Development Authority. And of course, I think the NDA's role is facilitative. Let's remember, we know there's a Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Health, and so on and so forth. So the NDA can only be a facilitating organization to work with the duty bearers, like the regional coordinating councils, the ministries, and so on, to be able to develop initiatives that can really bring about great transformative change in the North, rather than, I think in the past it used to be more about this, the North is very poor, social interventions, but now we're really looking at stepping up, a step change in the interventions that are carried out. So, for example, we are looking at how best we harness the water resources. And the government launched this, the Palugu hydro project in the North. That project will irrigate over up to 100,000 hectares of agricultural land, which will be available to large-scale farmers and small-scale farmers, which means that that's why I talked about inclusive economic growth. Yeah, you are going to have growth, but it's going to happen through the involvement of the so-called subsistence farmers and large-scale farmers working together to ensure that the dams do make a difference to the lives of all members, all sections of the northern Ghanaian population. And so let's also remember that the northern Ghana is quite diverse with 5 regions. You have the Upper West, Upper East, Northeast, Savannah, and Northern region. And these are all areas that have also potentials, and they also have opportunities, and they also have challenges. So I think the role of the NDA is really work with the assemblies, the regional coordinating council, to see how we can actually introduce focused, effective, inclusive programs to bring about change in the North.
Eunice, I'll ask what, I'm sure the Star Ghana Foundation is the pockets, is the purse bearer for much of the summit. So we've had, at GBC, we've had the opportunity to work closely with Star Ghana on the presidential encounters and the presidential debates ahead of the elections. Other programs on our platforms are also sponsored by Star Ghana. So is it purely a financial duty for Star Ghana to just put money available, or what other level of collaboration are you presenting?
All right, great. Let me just start by mentioning that the Star Ghana Foundation was instrumental in reviving the summits, you know, following the break around the Mole series. And a role just like that of NDA is facilitating discussions. And so we provide technical assistance. I think the whole thought into the program, the development of technical papers, the map out of events, we have influenced together with the NDA and the RCC. So our role goes beyond funding. And I think that in this period where we are talking about ownership of such platforms or such activities for institutions, we have had NDA play very critical roles. So in addition to technical assistance, they are also funding some cost of the summit. We have had support of the RCCs also, and we have had support of diverse stakeholders, and it's important to mention the INGO forum, the heads of corporations, the heads of missions, and we have had, you know, support from Ghanaian businesses, the Agriculture Development Bank. So this is just to say that the financing of the summit, the technical assistance to, you know, developing the thoughts, the technical papers are supported by the diverse stakeholders, and the Star Ghana plays a role on the 2 fronts, providing financing but also technical assistance and backstopping to the thought thinking process.
This public-private partnership, how has it worked for Star Ghana so far, especially in this instance in relation to in relation to what you're doing with the Northern Development Authority?
Yeah, I think that we have experienced that civil society organizations and government actually share common interest around development. And so our work has been around promoting that kind of collaboration between civil society and government institutions. And I think that where we have made the case for the benefit of an intervention for both civil society and government, the appreciation, the interest, and the commitment is higher. And that has been our story with working with the Northern Development Authority. I must say that because they are a state institution, they may not be as agile as civil society because of bureaucracy and all of that. But in terms of NDA's commitment, but also the regional coordinating councils led by the regional ministers, their commitment to this initiative, just having the conversation has been impressive. And we are hoping that post-summit actions would also receive this kind of a commitment, because really they are the actions that translate into benefits for the people. And so the conversation is just an input into that, and we don't expect it to end from there. So we do expect that we will continue to see a lot more of commitment from the NDA, following up on the investors that are coming for the investment forum, so we can close deals to support businesses in Northern Ghana, but also following up with conversations with the heads of corporations, because these are institutions that are delivering services. They are funding a lot of interventions in the north, and they have shown clear interest in the summit. And so the follow-on actions from the summit will be very critical, and we do hope that we'll continue to see this kind of commitment from the NDA, from the regional coordinating councils, and all others.
Dr. Abdulaziz, I just want to find out, there are incentives for businesses that want to go outside the for example, areas in the south, Accra, Takoradi, Kumasi perhaps, and move further north. What are some of the opportunities available, and what are the incentives that are on offer? Because I know that business people listen, and they are always looking for opportunities to grow. So which areas are you looking to enter into partnerships with, or which areas are you going to facilitate for people to get into in northern part of the country?
Yes, I think there are some four broad thematic areas that we hope investors will come to this summit. And also just to explain that the summit is in two parts. The first part is what we call the investment forum. That's the first day. And we are hoping that private sector investors, our development partners, some of the development partners that the USAID, the British government, the Turkish government, and all those, they are coming. And of course, private sector investors, the banks, we are hoping they will be attending. So the investment forum will follow by the summit. Investment forum will follow by the summit. Now, there are four thematic areas. Agriculture is one. Social services social service infrastructure is another.
And tourism.
And tourism is a fourth. So
Agric, social service, infrastructure, and tourism. So Agric, I think I have a fair idea. What would the social service encompass? So
that would be the health, education, things to do with providing the software, the things that will help, will form the foundation for the heavy capital-intensive things to happen. For example, the social services will have things to do with education, access to education, health services, and so on and so forth. So that's social services. And the tourism is more about, there are facilities and all sorts of things in the north that could be developed to attract tourism.
Off the top of my head, I can just say Mole National Park.
The Mole National Park, but if you go to Bolga, the crafts markets in the Upper East region.
Now here you have a hippopotamus sanctuary at Wichau.
Exactly. There are all sorts of, yes, and the crocodile pond in Paga, and the slave routes in Salaga and other parts of the north. So there are all sorts of opportunities there. And then, of course, the agriculture is another. Oh, well, you did mention that agriculture. But agriculture is very interesting because it provides a huge opportunities. For example, most farmers lack access to mechanization facilities. So one of the areas we are hoping we'll have investments and investors who will be interested in supporting the establishment of mechanization centers across northern the NDA zone, and then also industry. I mean, we have very few industries up north. There are ideas coming about establishing apparel factories for the manufacture of apparels, and that could tap into the potential for cotton production and so on. And as you know, the north, like Burkina and other places, are very well endowed resources for the cultivation of cotton. So that's another example. And then there are also, we are hoping that we also have investors who will actually come in to do what we call the catalytic projects that can really transform the northern landscape. For example, our road systems or networks are really poor. The road network within and between regions needs a lot of work, and of course railway facilities, industrial parks. These are all areas we are looking at. And then you have, for example, the Butte area. There are ideas about opening up the link between Bupe and Akosombo. So you would have a water transport system that would link the north with the south. And these are major investment initiatives.
So intensive.
Exactly, but that could really bring about huge transformation. To imagine the market, you have southern Ghana and then the sub-region, Burkina, Niger. You can see the number of transport vehicles that pass through between the south and the north. I mean, it's non-stop, articulated vehicles. Literally one every second they are just moving between the north and the south. So there's a huge market potential if the north could be opened up a bit more, if the industrial investment could be supported.
When is the summit? Because it looks like you have a lot to talk about.
A lot.
When is it and where is it happening?
Okay, the summit is happening in Wa. The summit, it rotates every year. So the Upper West region is hosting it. So it's happening in Jirapa. So it's happening in Jirapa, and we are hoping that people will find their way there. And it's happening between the 24th and 26th.
Of November.
Of November.
24th to 26th of November.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Final comments before we wrap. Eunice, your expectations and how you are managing those expectations.
All right. So the summit is just next week. We are bringing together, as we said earlier, diverse stakeholders. We are creating the platform for discourse around critical issues on, first of all, state of healthcare and education. We are discussing issues around peace and also the threat of spillovers of violent extremism activities in the north based on its location in the Sahel region. And the Northern Development Authority has a well-researched document for transformation of the north, which they call the NDA Master Plan. And this is a space to account to the citizens on how that plan has been implemented and what will be the way forward. So we expect a very constructive and honest discussion, but we know the problems. And so we want to get out of the summit with tangible strategies, tangible partnerships, and also timelines for delivering on the strategies and partnerships, so that we are accounting to, first of all, the people that we are rallying around, but also the people whose interests we are serving. So we expect many people, the heads of corporation, the heads of missions are joining. State institutions are joining. We have the Dr. Ibn Chambers as a keynote speaker, and we are expecting the Vice President as a guest of honor. So it's a high-level conversation involving people who have the mandate to take decisions that will transform Northern Ghana's development.
Right. Doc, your final comments.
I think my final comment is that it's really, I'm very privileged to be able to participate in this event, and I hope that we'll have a lot of patronage. I think everything we've spoken about...
Is it open to all?
It's open to all. It's open to all. And I think everything we've spoken about, poverty, development, conflict, peace, they are so interrelated. When you transform the economic situation, you are able to keep down the incidence or occurrence of conflict, you know. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Suleiman Abdulaziz, Board Chairman of the Northern Abdullahi.
Yes.
Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi, Board Chairman of the Northern Development Authority. Thank you for joining us, and of course, Madam Eunice Abinyazi, Program Manager, Star Ghana Foundation. Thank you as well for sharing your thoughts with us. So the NDA Summit, the Northern Ghana Development Summit, is coming on from the 24th of November to the 26th of November, and conversations are expected to be had around the opportunities that exist in the northern part of the country and how the disparity, the inequality in development, the inequality in job creation, the inequalities in just livelihoods in general between the north and the south can be breached, and so opportunities exist for businesses to also take part in providing agricultural services, social services, infrastructure, tourism, and the doc has said catalytic projects is the word I'm taking away from this. So major infrastructure projects, roads, railway, water transport. So go and hear what opportunities may exist for your business and how you can venture into the northern market, which also links you to other areas of the Sahel region. So the Northern Development Authorities is leading this drive in collaboration with the Star Ghana Foundation, and they are having the summit in the Upper West region, Jirapa to be precise. So you may want to take advantage and be part of those conversations. We will take a break and we will return with more. Please don't go away.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
In Ghana in general, so many of our children, so many of our wards have gone through Sunday school, and it has shaped lives, it has shaped characters, it has changed attitudes. And I remember my mom, who was a Sunday school teacher, used to report me to my Sunday school teachers if I did anything wrong. So a very, very strict upbringing when you benefit or you have the opportunity to be a part of Sunday school. And so today we are going to look into the Presbyterian Children's Service, who have done this for 100 years. For 100 years, they've touched the lives of children. Imagine your mother, my mother, or perhaps your grandmother may have been a beneficiary of the 100 years of children's service provided by this group. And at the table, I've been joined from my far left, Nee Christian Johnson, National Committee, Children Ministry, NCCM, and he's a member of that committee. Nee, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you.
Next to him, Mr. Ludwig Kofi, the GA Presbytery lay representative. He's also the immediate past National Children Ministry president. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we are talking about Sunday school.
Yeah.
It's been 100 years for you. How did it all start?
Please. Okay. No, actually, in the President Church, when you talk about Sunday school, you're talking about the different thing altogether.
Okay.
Our Sunday school in the church used to be it was like a literary class where people are taught how to read and
in
write
the local languages.
That's right. Now, children's service is a service that we hold, a worship service that we hold for children, particularly. It started, like you said, 100 years ago, but the church's service 192 years. But it does not mean that the church neglected children till then, But
so before then, they were part of the adult
service. They were part of the adult service. Then, like God always does wonderful things for us, the idea came that we should separate the children. And since then, it's been something else, you see, and that's what we are celebrating. 100 good years.
Osu Presbytery.
Osu Presbytery.
It started from Osu, but we are in the GA Presbytery.
You are in the GA Presbytery.
Yeah.
How effective have you been when it comes to raising the children and being a part of a community, the GA community specifically, when it comes to developing their cultures and just integrating them to be more fully aware of their role as Christians in society?
The Presbyterian Church of Ghana believes in using the local languages to teach. Even in the adult services, typically in Accra here, you predominantly, you're either in the GA Church or in the Tree Church, or where both languages are used. So and the hymn books and things, it was only recently that it was translated into the GA hymn book, or the Tree hymn book was translated into English. So it's been really, and usually in Accra you have the challenges of two languages clashing, Tree and the indigenous GA. So that politics runs a little bit, but we managed to handle this, and the two cultures are coexisting nicely, and we teach the children in the three languages are used. There are places where English is used, there are places where GA is used, there are places where Tree is used, or a mixture of this. Again, the ministry to children in the church. Again, like you said, the church is 192. In 2028 will be 200 years, and it's a big show also coming on board. 2 centuries of the church, and the church has always given ministry to children, but they were doing it through the schools because they own the schools. They set up the schools, so the school was the natural place. So actually, when they go to school 5 days a week, they were under ministry. And the children's service became necessary because of worship on Sundays. And it was as well that it started, because now we are not in control of the school, so you don't have charge of the school for 5 days in the week. So Sundays really becomes the time that the church has contact with the children. We try to involve ourselves in the ministry in the schools on this Wednesday worship and things like that, but you don't really have full control over that. So the children's service has become the main vehicle for reaching the children on Sundays, and we've tried to arrange them in classes so that we can reach each child. So in the church we have 4 classes, different classes. We have what we call the toddlers up to 4. Then we have the beginners up to
4 to 6.
4 to 6 for the toddlers, 6 to 8.
4 to 6. For beginners.
Okay.
And then
yes, 4 to 6 for beginners. Yes.
Then 6 to
9 or 9 for primary. Then we have the juniors up to about 12 years.
And raising children in recent times, it's been quite a challenge, especially as more and more parents find themselves out of the home, you know, trying to make a living so that the children can be better taken care of. What burden has that placed on children's service teachers and the church when it comes to grooming the younger generation?
The church and the children's service actually believe that parents have a primary responsibility to nurture their children. So what the church does is actually to give them support in the form of training the parents themselves. You know, there's no school for
to be a parent. You take it as you go. You can control with
yeah, that's right. So through various classes and seminars and that kind of thing for parents, the church helps in grooming them, you know, so that they can lead in the
100 years. What are the activities you have lined up?
Well, we've gone through most of the activities already. Actually, our church is very generous with children because on our church annual almanac, there are about 5 or 6 activities for children. So you start with Children's Sunday, Parents' Day, Flower Service, Children's Harvest, and Christmas activities. And so what we've done in this year is that each of the children's celebrations have been used as a celebration of the part of the centenary, and we are crowning it on Sunday, 21st at Osu, where it all started. And we one of the other things we did was that in each of our presbyteries, we have 19 presbyteries in Ghana and 2 presbyteries outside Ghana for the church, and they've all held symposia on our theme, which is 100 years of children's service and beyond. And Christ our example. And then just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the church in the central, the moderator himself chaired a 2-day consultation on children's service to look for the way forward. So this activity has taken place, and we are crowning it all. There will be services in all public congregations in the country on Sunday, celebrating this activity. And the climax will also be in Osu, where it all started, and the moderator himself will be preaching on the day.
Okay.
I need to add that what he talked about is how we celebrated the thing on the national level. But in the congregations and districts and presbyteries, they're holding other things, children's rallies and things that we can think about. Anything about charity.
And COVID has not affected the...
Well, we know that we have COVID. COVID will be there, but we have to live with it. So the necessary precautions and the preventive measures were put in place, straightly put in place. And we lived with the COVID.
So here's a final word.
Yes, we are grateful to God for His mercies for 100 years. Some of us were alive when we celebrated 50, and we are alive when we are celebrating 100.
We thank Him for it.
We thank Him for it, for His mercies. We are hoping that other people alive now will see 150 and 200.
Because you're sure that you would not be here.
Not too sure, but
God is still in the miracle.
Of course.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you for your service to the children's service. I mean, I'm not a Presbyterian, but I don't have to be a Presbyterian to benefit from. I have family who are Presbyterian. I know a few hymns. I don't want to, catch my own self off guard. So I'll just say congratulations, 100 years of active service in the children's ministry. Children's service is grateful for you and all your teachers for everything that you've given them. The celebration is being climaxed on the 21st of November. I've been at the table with Nick Christian Johnson, National Committee, Children Ministry, and he is a member of the NCCM as well. And Mr. Ludwig Kofi Hesse, the GAM Presbytery Lay Representative and immediate past National Children Ministry President. Thank you, gentlemen, for appearing on the show.
Thank you very much.
Climax of the celebration is on the 21st of November at the Osu Presbytery, and it will also be replicated in all congregations across the country. So be a part of that, and let's celebrate the teachers who have made this possible and the children who have put themselves up to be trained by the children's service. We'll be right back with more after this break. Valerie, we'll see you soon.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Welcome to the Yellow Couch. Welcome to the lifestyle segment. So this is after speaking and talking, having conversations about the budget and all the hard stuff. I intend to cool you down with some music and dancing. So this guy, he sort of doubles as a dancer and a musician. He started off dancing and then he slowly eased off into music when he got a broken heart. That's what he said from my research. We'll find out if that's what really happened. This show is made possible by Airtel Tigo, and so we are going to take a quick break and find out what Airtel Tigo has in store for Ghanaians, and then we can meet the guy whose girlfriend left him and decided to do music. Here's a break.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Okay, welcome back. I have Mr. Drew in studio. Ni Kome. Welcome.
Thank you.
You must be a very happy man this morning because you have 3.7K views on Seke, which you put out there 8 hours ago on YouTube.
Yeah,
How do you feel about that?
We released the add-on. I feel I can do better. I haven't really made noise. People don't really know that I have released it. I just dropped it in there. It's probably after the interview, we'll just make noise about it. But for now, I haven't really made any noise. So yeah, Seke is a brand new video featuring Medical, and I honestly love that video.
Yeah.
I think I showed a lot of my dance, ability.
Your dance skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but after the interview, the day is starting, so we're going to be making noise about it.
I think pretty shortly we'll play that video.
Wow.
Pretty shortly we'll be playing Seke. But see, I want to get to know you up close and personal. This is the first time I'm having a conversation with you. Can you please take off your glasses?
Oh, I look
you can put it back on back.
I didn't sleep early.
I know. But we just want to see a quick one, and then you can put it back on during the conversation. There you go. Was it that hard?
Oh no, but I looked.
Oh, well, no, that's fine. Everybody knows yesterday you were busy during the night and this morning. Okay, so as an artist, I mean, you sort of morphed into music.
Yeah.
You said because somebody left you. Is it true or
It
was
was a factor, but it wasn't like the main reason. I'd always wanted to do music, you understand, but I just didn't know the time or when I was going to do it. So I don't know, but the breakup thing was just one of the factors. It wasn't like the main reason why I did music.
Right, and we'll take a quick break. The hashtag to follow is still GTV Breakfast. We're taking a quick break.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Editions of the MTN Hitmaker.
Yeah.
And people thought you were going to be
dancing for the other, you know.
People thought you were going to be a dancer for some of the people who were going to be on there.
Yeah.
How did you feel at that moment when you knew that this was what you wanted and people thought this was where you were going to go?
It felt, how would I put it? It was funny. It was funny because, you know, usually people would assume that, oh, he's coming to dance for somebody, or probably, you know, he's come to escort somebody. So everything was just in my mind, and I was just sitting down waiting for my turn, and then just to prove some people wrong and stuff like that. So it felt really great. Yeah.
Right. And so your rise to stardom, would you call it real quick? Would you call it luck, or would you call it fate? Luck or fate? Which one?
I think it's grace and then hard work.
Grace and hard work.
Yeah.
How hard did you work for it? How hard did you work for it? You were a dancer.
I worked really, really hard because looking at where I came from, switching from dance to music, it's not even easy. How many people can boast of that? Like changing, like strictly dance, and then now you're doing music and dances, and then you're being celebrated for that. People are enjoying your music. It's not just the dance. People are loving your music too. You're winning awards. You're doing shows. You're literally part of the list. It's not an easy task. You understand? So, a lot of hard work. And we're still doing the hard work. We're still working hard. Yeah.
And how do you deal with all the fame and all the attention it comes with?
Usually, I'm a very lone person. I like to be alone.
You're a loner.
Yeah, so I know how to, like, I find, you know, managing the fame and everything very normal, because I don't have to mind anybody. I just have to make sure I'm working and giving up good stuff, entertaining the people all the time, releasing good music, and I just think.
Right. Yeah. And then also, what's your working relationship off work with Kewa? Kewa is one of the most...
Yeah, he's more like a spiritual father to me. You know, apart from the production and everything, you know, he preaches to you, he does like ministering and everything. So apart from the music side, at least he has been advising me, oh, do this, do that, how to live and everything, at least how to balance stuff.
So it's like a spiritual father
easy. Yeah, usually it's things, there are lots of things involved. And you need to be, especially in this game, in this Ghana here, where things are very, you know,
dicey.
Yeah, and it's a very wicked industry. So it's good to have somebody like that.
Why would you call an industry that you belong to wicked?
Yeah, because people want to be where you are. It's not easy. Trust me. People want to be, and if you lose God, they'll replace you with somebody else.
Real quick.
And that's how it is. So you have to be like on your toes all the time.
Okay, so let's talk the song of the moment, Seke. Seke.
Yeah.
Amega. I know what seke means.
Yeah.
Crazy. Why would you title your song Seke?
Because when you listen to the song, it literally translates into that. Like the whole video is about partying and having fun and going insane, and that's what we want to, you know, project into whatever we're going to be doing from now until if anything till
Someone
so
says
all the party and everything is going to be crazy. So somebody say, "Yeah, party now, but it was mad, Charlie. The party was crazy." Yeah.
Someone says it's a feel-good song.
Yeah.
And then also you have somebody, a fan. His name is Daniel from East Legon. He says, "I admire Mr. Drew for his dancing skills, and I love his music and his songs." He sent that to our WhatsApp.
Oh, wow. Big shouts to you, Daniel.
Okay. It's been 8 hours and a couple of minutes, and you have 3.7K views. I'm sure by now the number has gone up. You have a
but
large...
that's not a good number, though. That's not a good number. We'll do more.
Yes, it will do more.
We haven't made noise about. I said that earlier, so.
You're just about to.
See. I saw any day.
But since you see how we need to watch, okay. You can put us in the second mood.
Yeah, we are now coming to. You know,
I'm coming to let you do seke for me right now. As I was when you are awake.
And when I'm roaming home, should I start?
No, Mr. Drew, come on, give us something from seke, and then we'll play the video.
Like yes, seke. Don't be late. I gonna sunti and time. So wait, are you a bomber? Yes or no? Is she your girlfriend? Make her know. Boys, we go carry go. Oh. Party about them, feel 'em for body. You do feel 'em for body. Oh, I silly.
Right, and so you shot the video yesterday. How did you shoot videos yesterday? Put together editing and put it out there?
It's all hard work. Yeah, you just have to give it to the people.
Which people did you work with? Who were the people in your team?
X-Bills. He shot the video, he directed everything. So big shouts to X-Bills. The song was produced by Vampire Beats, mixed by Master Gazi, and also mastered by Kewa. So a lot of people on there, and then big shouts to my team as well. We're about to do the work, so everybody's like prepared. Yeah.
Yesterday, while the Minister for Finance was speaking, he failed to mention the creative industry and what the government had in plans.
Yeah.
What are your general thoughts about that?
I feel like it's been like that for a while, and well, even if they didn't mention it, I'm sure they have plans that are laid down that they would, as time goes on, they would come out to speak about it. So let's not rush and then, you know, attack anybody. Let's just take our time and then wait for what they also have for.
Right. And then also, this is from a fan, Kwame. He says that you've been around for a while. What would you see changed in our industry?
See change. I would have really appreciated if we could change how we listen to our music. Instead of like going to the free sites, we should just rather stream them on all these digital platforms where we could, all these streams can translate into money or revenues for us. Because at the end of the day, we're putting money, we're investing into the music, we're shooting quality videos. We have to shoot like, somebody has to shoot like 5 videos a year. And let's say a video is like 50,000 Ghana cedis. Now that's just the video aside. Now we're going to go into promotion. We're going to spend like another 50,000. Imagine.
That's
everything.
A lot of money.
So imagine I'm supposed to shoot like 5 videos a year. You see, we're putting a lot into it, and then at the end of the day, someone gets it for free. You know, you're streaming the songs for free. All you could do is just stream. Downloading the songs for free. All you need to do is just stream them. When I say stream them, just listen to them on stores like Boomplay, Spotify, Apple Music, all those stores instead of downloading it on your phone straight from some free sites and then downloading it onto your phone.
See, but in the defense of ordinary Ghanaians and the fact that we are all learning, you know, Ghana, you know how we are. We weren't brought up with a culture of streaming. Oh, we'll be downloading. Oh, send me the song. Forward the song to me, you know. So in the spirit of that, I mean, we are all learning. So you guys should do more education.
No, but you're asking me what I would love to change.
So do more education on that, and so people understand the need for them to stream.
Yeah, but every time I do an interview, I speak about it. So yeah, that's something I always speak about.
What's happening? The Christmas is fast approaching. Any events coming up?
I have my concert coming up this Saturday. Sile concert is happening in Malam because that's where I grew up. And during the concert, we're going to be doing a lot of things. We're going to be sharing stuff from my sponsors, Guinness Ghana, Motor Guinness Ghana, and then HD Plus as well. We want to put the underground artists in Malam and then some other underground artists out there too on that stage, and then give them the platform to just, you know, shine as well. So yeah, big shouts to all my sponsors, Guinness Ghana, Motor Guinness, and then HD Plus. It's going down inside Malam. It starts 6 p.m. Coco Station. So don't forget Sele concerts. We have all the artists passing through. The whole industry is going to be there.
Those are the big names. I want to know the unknown names you are going to put on.
Okay, unknown names. I've got hey, Bibril. They are like 50,000.
Say, mention 5.
The underground artists.
Yes. Those are who we want to see.
Okay. Well, there's Yao Black. Yeah, Yao Black. There's Lab. There's there's
who's that? Lab.
L-A-B.
Okay.
But I want to mention some of the artists from Malam because
because that's the reason why you're having this concert.
Yeah.
So we don't want to know the big.
No, but then there are lots of underground artists that are gonna be there. So I can't mention just all of them like that.
No, it's fine. And then we here on Tuesdays we do something. We sort of unearth talent. So people who are underground, so you can pass with them. So we sort of do that because we are trying to showcase more Ghanaian content. Now let's talk social media. How social media is the biggest tool right now. How do you use yours? And then some tips for the upcoming artist who might want to learn from you.
So for me, I know what my fans want. I know what they love to watch. Most of the time, they love to watch me dance. You understand?
They're about to see you dance.
They love to watch me dance. So, you know, little bits of dance here and there, and then mostly challenges. I do TikTok challenges, dance challenges, and sing-alongs, and it works for me. So, for anybody out there, or the underground artists or upcoming artists, what I would say is know your fans, know what they love to watch on your page, and then from there
you feed them what they like. Okay. This is from an admirer, I believe, and she is asking what's happening in the area of your love life. She says, has your preference for older women changed?
Hey, I never had a preference for older women.
Okay, so maybe you have the opportunity now, because it was out there some time back.
Yeah, it was, and then I came out to clear that up. You understand? I was like, I don't choose, you know, I don't discriminate. Whether the person is old or young enough to date. That's it. That's I don't choose between who is old and
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we are going to watch Seke. So that everybody else who hasn't seen it, I have seen it, can get the feel and the vibe and get ready.
I haven't really watched it.
You haven't watched your own video. You have to pay me because the hype I've done for this song.
I haven't really
right, and so we are going to have a feel of what Seke from Nikome, aka Mr. Drew and Medical. It was out 8 hours ago, and let's see how it's doing. You like it?
Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital.
Mr. Drew, his song Seke featuring Medical is out. Go on YouTube. You saw snippets of that. Go on YouTube. Go on all the platforms. Is out, and go and watch it, like it, share it, stream it, so that we can make some money, because it takes a lot to make these nice music videos for you guys to enjoy. Yeah. Okay, so because I have you here, I'm talking about enjoyment and music videos. That video has been trending for a while. Do you have anything to say about that?
Nothing at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you envisage yourself doing that somewhere in future?
Nah.
No?
No.
Do you perhaps have an inkling of what he'll use the money for?
No, nothing at all.
Why is that all of you are being silent on it?
Because I feel like it's not.
Charlie, let's talk Seke. Let's talk Seke. And so we've been spending time with Mr. Drew. We've been talking Seke, and we got to know something that he says that, his preference for women, he just doesn't like older women, and he sort of switches. And so go out and look for his song.
I don't know who came out to say that, but yeah, we like everything. So.
Like, I'm not even going to say it. So go out and share his music, watch his music, and that's the song that's going to be trending for today. It's going to be part of a lot of playlists for this December, all the jamming in December.
Xmas banger, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, once you're at the party and then it drops, you know that
you for dance.
So if the party is not lit, don't play it.
Will there be a challenge? For Seke? Will you put the choreography together and let us know?
Yeah, we're going to be dropping it soon. I haven't posted anything about the song yet, so once I start doing that...
So it's going to be the Seke challenge?
Oh yeah, Seke challenge.
I'm sure to be in our strength.
Patina, but I'm feeling for body. I don't feel for body. So wait, are you a bomber? Yes or no? Is she your girlfriend? Make I know. Boys, we go carry, go. Hey, party about them, feeling for body. You the feeling for body.
So guys, we've been spending our time with Mr. Drew. Oh, before you go, Christmas is fast approaching. Yeah. You have a lot of fans. Do you have any advice as to how people should take care of themselves when they are jamming this Christmas?
Okay, party, but don't party too hard. Listen to Seke, but don't over listen to it. You understand? Also, COVID is still around, so please, your nose mask, your sanitizer, don't forget. Always have spare nose masks too. I found that very useful. When you have spare nose masks, it's very, very. Don't buy just one. Buy like
spare.
5. Yeah, buy 5 so that you can change it all the time. And yeah, because I've been seeing people wear one nose mask like 1 week. It's not. Guys, I beg you guys. Change the nose mask. I beg you. Alright.
Are you a bomber?
Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show.